The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rabbatts.
The G-Man.
Sonley of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeau.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk. For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com.
Hello, I'm Rabbatts.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeau.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rabbatts. My name is Christian Carambeau.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
Good evening, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Straight shooting LJA, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions, and also shows you how to rip the balls off of a bull. If anyone could get that OWR, you're pretty good, because it's Monday night and it's time for your Monday night football and fix. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions, because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we have a croissant.
From ripping the balls off of a bull to a croissant. I love that. And I said, if anyone gets the OW first OWR of the show, yeah, you'd be pretty good to get it. But it is on them ones.
I'm sorry, people. I was just finishing a croissant. You know, literally, like I was like the croissant monster.
Did you put bacon in your croissant?
Don't make me have to come over there and slap you.
Who put bacon in my croissant? Who put bacon in my croissant? Oh, I gotta have a big shout out to Ashley Inks. That guy is too funny. But anyway. Oh my god. No, but here's one. There was www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. Find out about everything Pitch Talk there. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. We've got the Facebook group. We've got the page as well, the Facebook page too. Also, twitter.com/Pitch Talk or @Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. YouTube.com/Pitch Talk for all the videos, including the Pitch Talk Meet series. where we profile people doing good things in football and we get behind the people to find out what makes them tick. Pitch Talk meets the Real David is coming soon. Keep your eyes out for trailers, for bonus material. That interview will be coming very soon, so keep your eyes on the socials for that. We are also Pitch Talk live on Google Plus as well. 07535804466 is the mobile number. As you can hear, the phone's on. 07535804466. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you're texting, then please leave your name at the end of the text so we can shout you out. So. It is one of them ones where it's .com or .co.uk, which will get you to the blogs. Blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, and a brand new blog that was released today, Masterclass by Clatts, and that is from Mr. Dave Meir, aka at Mearsey on Twitter, as part of his Word of a Ref blog as well. Masterclass by Clatts is the newest blog from Dave Meir, aka at Mearsey. So check that out. Check out Twitter for that link at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet us, follow us, see what we are up to. It is one of them ones where I ask my co-host at this point, how's your week and weekend been so far?
Well, the week so far has been good.
Okay.
I mean, we've had less than 24 hours, but we're starting as we mean to go on, man.
I did mean last week, but don't.
No, I know, but you said so far, right? So I'm I thought you were talking about this week.
He's getting.
You could have just left that out.
Technicalities.
Really, like if you're talking about.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying is all. But if we're talking about last week was good too.
What the Futurama references? I'm just saying is how. That actually ties into my weekend, and the episode that reference is from ties into my weekend. But more on that later.
So yeah, as I say, the week was good, the weekend was good, and like I say, I just feel blessed to be here with all of you right now, all the silent listeners, all the loud listeners, everybody in the Skype chat, everybody on Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus. I love all you guys. And you know what? Shout out to the haters as well. Because haters gonna hate, but that's all right. Because I got the love. All right.
I'm hoping you're not. I'm hoping you don't want to whiz on anyone. Hey, wait, no. Hold on. You led me down that primrose path because I know where that reference is from.
I was not holding your hand. I just want to point that out.
Hey, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
I wasn't leading you anywhere. You took yourself there, and you can find a ticket to get yourself back.
Oh Lord! By the way, Tottenham Hotspur are actually 1-0 up. By the way, Dembele scored on 3 minutes. 10 minutes gone.
I always thought Moussa Dembele was quality, and I'm glad now that he's getting a run in the side and he's beginning to show some semblance of form. I actually wanted him at Manchester United, to be fair. And speaking of Manchester United, we will be going through the weekend's results and analysis, and I will have my 2 cents on Chelsea v Liverpool as well. But enough from me. G-Man, weekend, how was it, bro?
Oh, safe, bro. Weekend was cool. Very much like yours. It was a good weekend. It was a good week before that. And, like you said, looking forward to this week. It's gone pretty well today, to be honest. Super quick. So hopefully the whole week is on the same sort of pattern because I can't wait till next Saturday, basically.
And why would that be?
That will be discussed. The reasons why will be discussed later on in Grassroots. But yeah, not too much to go into. But yeah, it's been a good week.
I hear that.
So obviously that leaves a straight shooting one to tell us, right? What level on Donkey Kong were you playing this weekend?
Nah, it was only Futurama this week. Season 6. Very, very good season. Very underrated show.
I thought there was more Donkey Kong or some Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong Country or something.
I was gonna say I hated Diddy Kong Racing. It was actually a really poor knockoff of Mario Kart. But anyway, at least you could You can compete in a hovercraft and helicopter. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, week wasn't too bad. Had a week off work, bit of annual leave there. So yeah, week off wasn't too bad. Got to catch up on some stuff. And yeah, the weekend was actually tremendous. Grassroots segment, a very large part of why the weekend was tremendous. Not far from the only part. Someone else will kill me if I said that was the only part. But no, it was one of them ones. Yeah, it was actually a tremendous weekend, especially Saturday. Saturday was just tremendous all round. So yeah, it was one of them ones, man.
I get a feeling it was tremendous.
Yes, it was. It was. Big shout outs to all the Ibis Eagles guys. At Ibis Eagles AFC on Twitter, facebook.com/Ibis Eagles AFC as well. Big time shout outs. That kicked off my weekend right. So it was one of them ones, and then continued with news of Liverpool's victory, which more on that later. And yeah, it's one of them ones, and then just like rounded out the weekend. With a special somebody as well. So yeah, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic weekend. Shiloh, big shout out to her. So it's been a very good weekend. Very, very good. Very good weekend. I know I'm doing the Nelson Mandela voice, but yeah. My weekend has been very, very good.
And you decided to continue. Why?
I don't know.
Why? Can we not just, I don't know, jump to results and analysis?
Just channeling my inner Trevor Noah. One of them was the new host of The Daily Show, as most people may know him now. But yeah, good stuff. It is one of those. I mean, Mike Harniman's just said in the Skype chat, Saturday was hardly tremendous. It was shocking. 5-1 at home, 9 men, 2 penalties. That was definitely tremendous. At least Arsenal won, but Stevenage was a pure joke. And Russ has said he had a great time at Arsenal ladies v Notts County ladies. We're going to get onto that. We're going to get onto that later, actually, in results and analysis. And he briefly spoke to Alex Greenwood of Notts County ladies at full time as well. So yeah, that Continental Cup final, more on that later. So it is one of them. Speaking of the Continental Cup final, actually, big shout out to Girls on the Ball at Girls on the Ball on Twitter and facebook.com/Girls on the Ball, www.girlsontheball.com. Also, big shout outs to Motivate Sports and Fitness at Motivate SF on Twitter, facebook.com/Motivate SF, and also motivatesportsandfitness.com. Also, a massive shout out to Thin White Line Magazine at Tweet White Line on Twitter, thinwhitelinemagazine.com. They usually give us, via Mr. Ian Kerr, the editor of Thin White Line Magazine, a A-League roundup. So, hey, if you heard the roundup, go there, support their podcast as well, and buy the shirt, buy the mags, buy the shirt. One of them was thinwhitelinemagazine.com and facebook.com/thinwhitelinemagazine.com. No, Thin White Line Magazine, yeah. Facebook.com/Thin White Line Magazine. And they're also on Instagram as Thin White Line Magazine. We're on Instagram too as at Pitch Talk. So all good stuff. It is one of them ones, so where it is about that time. And also a huge shout out to Mr. Darrell David as well, the latest Pitch Talk Meets interviewee. As said, Pitch Talk Meets Darrell David will be coming out soon. As it stands, about 13 minutes gone, Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 0 is the current score in that one at White Hart Lane. Dembele with the opening goal on 3 minutes. Right about now, speaking of results and current scores and analyses, it's time to go into results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results and analyses. Yes, results and analysis. And where we're going to go first, we are going excuse me. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. We're going to swing into Tuesday, 27th of October, 2015, rounding out the month. It was one. Then was Capital One Cup, 4th round. Everton won, Norwich won. Everton win 4-3 on penalties. Bassong opening the scoring on 51 minutes with Leon Osman scoring on 68 minutes to level that one up. But yeah, Everton went through 4-3 on pens in that Capital One Cup 4th round. The draw, we're going to talk through later. Hull City won, Leicester City won. Hull City winning 5-4 on penalties. Riyad Mahrez scoring on 100 minutes with Abel Hernandez equalising on 106 minutes. But as said, Hull won 5-4 on penalties in that one. Hey man, you want to mention the next one?
Well, I'll mention the score, but you can fly right on with it.
Okay.
Sheffield Wednesday 3, Arsenal 0.
Wallace opening the scoring on 27 minutes. Santos Yao scoring on 40. And Sam Hutchinson scoring on 51 minutes. But there's more to be said about this because a few of your boys limped off injured as well. So we'll get back onto that. We will definitely get onto that in a second after we've read the results. So it is one of them ones. But yeah, sorry about that. Just getting a bit of sorry about that. Just getting some interference from somewhere. But yeah, it is one of them ones. Where we going? Stoke won, Chelsea won. Stoke won 5-4 on penalties to start quite a bad week for someone called Mourinho. You flopped Mourinho. But Waters scoring on 52 minutes. Lurk Remi. Jezzy. Who Remi?
Nick.
Yeah. Scored on 91, the equaliser. And Bardsley was sent off on 93 minutes, but Stoke went on to win 5-4 on penalties. Sky Bet League 1, Millwall 2, Doncaster 0, Morrison on 5 and on 8 minutes. Women's international friendly, Australia women 0, England Lionesses 1. Isabel Christensen on 51 minutes with the only goal of the game in that one. For women's football updates, please give a follow to friends of the show at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, girlsontheball.com and facebook.com/Girls on the Ball. Women's football aficionados. There is also a Pitch Talk Meets interview on youtube.com/Pitch Talk with Sophie and Rachel of Girls on the Ball. So please give them a follow for everything you need to know about women's football, and of course for updates on Scotty the Rabbit as well, because he the man is one of them ones. Moving on to Wednesday, 28th of October 2015, Capital One Cup 4th round. Liverpool 1, Bournemouth 0. And with the live bird upon my chest, this is one of the results of the week that I like to say the best, because Nathaniel Klein scored the only goal of the game on 17 minutes. Bournemouth had their chances, but it was one of them ones. Bogdan proving himself on a Liverpool goal again. Very, very able deputy in the Capital One Cup so far. Man City 5, Crystal Palace 1. Wilfred Bonney on 22 minutes. Kevin De Bruyne on 44 minutes. Iheanacho on 59 minutes. Yaya Toure scoring a penalty on 76. Damien Delaney on 89 minutes getting a consolation. And Garcia Alonso scoring on 94 minutes. Rounding out the scoring in that match. Southampton 2, Aston Villa 1. Maya Yoshida opened the scoring on 51 minutes. Graciano Pella on 77 minutes and Scott Sinclair on 94 minutes, scoring a penalty for, at that point, managerless Aston Villa. More on Aston Villa's situation because there's been a lot of development today. Monday, 2nd of November, 2015. So it's one of them ones. Man United 0, Middlesbrough 0. Not a great deal to report apart from the fact that Middlesbrough won 3-1.
Yo, let me speak on this.
We'll come back to that.
No. I want to do this now, man. Wait. I'm doing this now.
We still got a little more to mention about that match, actually.
Ryan, you can have your time. All right, enjoy yourself. After that, you're bad.
He's terrible. Oh Lord, it's like you're going on like Vinnie Mac. You're fired. Little more to mention in regards to that Middlesbrough Man United match, by the way, is Middlesbrough fans shine a light in support of steelworkers. On 29th of October 2015, Middlesbrough supporters held up mobile phones in a show of support for steelworkers as they made it through to the Capital One Cup quarterfinals. How did they do that, Gerald? How did they make their way through to the Capital One Cup quarterfinals?
They were lucky.
They beat Manchester United on penalties.
They were lucky. It was like the lottery.
They beat Manchester United.
They were lucky. It was like the lottery.
SSI's red card plant.
Lucky.
SSI's red car plant was mothballed with the loss of 2,200 jobs after its Thai-based owner went into liquidation. The closure of the coke ovens and blast furnace ended 98 years of production. The 10,000 travelling fans shone their lights 10 minutes into the game at Man United as a demonstration over the job losses. Middlesbrough won 3-1 on penalties after the game at Old Trafford ended goalless, following a period of extra time. And Wayne Rooney's drought in terms of goals continued, and that continued into the weekend, but we're coming back onto that later. Staying with the Capital One Cup, actually, in the fourth round, the quarter-final draw was actually made, and one team that wasn't in it was Manchester United. So, 28th of October 2015, Middlesbrough v Everton, Southampton v Liverpool, Stoke City versus Sheffield Wednesday, and Manchester City versus Manchester United. Hull City. Quarterfinal ties are to be played during the week commencing 30th of November 2015. Yeah, two notable absentees in terms of the Capital One Cup quarterfinal draw, Arsenal and Manchester United. So after Man United going out on penalties against Middlesbrough, and also Arsenal getting tanked, a much changed Arsenal, it must be said, but Arsenal getting tanked by Sheffield Wednesday and also losing a good couple players to injury as well, which is not helping their league challenge. Both teams deserve the rating of
-5 stars. -5 stars.
Because yes, definitely, really, because with both of those results, it is one of them ones where it was like,
tell me I did not just see that.
Because it's one of them ones. All right, Man United going out on penalties was hilarious. But Arsenal fans some Arsenal fans, I know certain Arsenal fans were thinking to themselves when that game was happening,
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Wait a minute.
Arsenal were down. Slap down by Sheffield Wednesday. Slap down. Arsenal cut, knock, slap down by Sheffield Wednesday.
We know he's not going to win.
As soon as they went to 3-0, we know who's not going to win. But yeah, the Capital One Cup threw up a few little interesting swerves in there. G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, thoughts on your teams getting eliminated in that? And the manner in
which what? I'll make this quick because I'm gonna hand it over to the G-Man and then we'll go from there. We can just ignore Ryan because he's not gonna say anything of any interest to anyone anywhere ever, right? So
don't hate, dude. It doesn't look good.
No, I'm not hating. I'm just saying we can just skip them all together. It's fine. So anyway, the point I was making was really the game itself was criminal. You know, like if you actually in the stadium, I feel sorry for you. I do, because it was just a bad game. It was a bad game. But all joking aside, right? The actual serious assessment of the game was Middlesbrough were the better team. It needs to be said. They defended better. You know, in terms of threatening, both teams were kind of shabby in the final third, especially Manchester United. They were sluggish, but overall, as I say, you know, did Middlesbrough deserve it? I think so. Did Manchester United deserve to lose the way they did? I think so. You know, and what I'm hoping for is that when the coaching staff go and look back on this past week and over the last few weeks, right, that this can be, to steal the phrase from the straight shooting one, a launch pad, right, onto things, i.e. finding the back of the net and not boring everybody to death or tears, madness, or something else. Anyway, G-Man over to you.
Well, you know, I was trying to just shy it out over here because I was just trying to wait till later on when we get onto the Swansea result. Then hopefully I could have just bypassed this game.
No, you're not getting that lucky.
That's how bad it was. In terms of the League Cup or the Capital One Cup being a non-trophy, to me that's a load of BS. I was very disappointed with the Arsenal performance. I don't care how many players we rotated. At the end of the day, it was about the performance more than anything. We could have lost that 1-0 and it still would have been, you know, bad in terms of that we just beaten Bayern and sort of been on a good run in the Premiership. But, you know, it's the fact that we lost 3-0, totally obliterated by Sheffield Wednesday, who we were odds-on favourites to win that game against. And we showed no heart, no passion. The players who should be fighting for their place in the team, like the Debussys, the Gibbs, Joel Campbell's, you know, they didn't show up. And I understand we had the two injuries right at the beginning, 4 minutes into the game, Oxlade going off, then Theo Walcott, you know, about 10 minutes later. But irrespective of that, yeah, there was still no desire to show and to win that game. And I know we had young players, but at the end of the day, the players who have been in and around the squad for a longer period of time, the first team squad, those who have lost their place from last season, yeah, for whatever reasons, yeah, they should have shown more desire, and they should have been able to help the young guns, you know, put in a better performance. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, Mike Harniman, you want to jump in on that, being an Arsenal supporter as well as a Stevenage supporter as well?
I'm literally not bothered. Like, it's a competition where
this one just went Catherine Tate on it.
Seriously, no, it's one of those competitions where we're not going to win it because we've always done this. We've always played. We know
you're not going to win it because you're out.
No, we always play the squad players like Chambers, whatever, Campbell, players that won't really feature in the league unless they have to because of injuries. So I'm not bothered. I think it's fine to give them a couple of games and stuff, but it's their game time, which is out of the window now. It's nothing. You know, we've still got a good form in the league, still playing well in the league. You know, we've still got the Champions League to come, FA Cup. Not bothered if we win that again. Obviously, would be nice too, but I want to go for the league this year instead and not another FA Cup, to be honest. But yeah, I just want to say, you know, the injuries do mount up to some of it as well. But I do think Sheffield Wednesday were the better side. And, you know, even watching it looked like Sheffield Wednesday were the Premier League side. It looked like they've been in the Premier League for years because their squad was stable. They haven't made loads of changes. So I think it was Wenger underestimating the opposition and underestimating the injuries as well as such, because when Oxlade-Chamberlain got injured, he just goes to Theo, right, come straight on, don't warm up, and then straight away, like 5 minutes later, he gets injured. It's going to happen.
But then are those injuries to Walcott and Oxlade-Chamberlain going to hurt your league charge?
Yeah, I think they will, but I think the injuries to Wilshere, Ramsey, Welbeck, and all of them will as well. So it's just the way that it is in football. And, like the weekend with players like Joel Campbell, if he can step up, then, it doesn't really matter, because if those players are going to perform, then we've kind of got that in reserve anyway.
What's funny thing is, actually, because Joel Campbell, we'll get onto that a little later, but it's one of them ones. He has been challenged. It has been said it's now or never for him, apparently. So it's one of them ones. He's going to get a shot. He is definitely going to get a shot. So it is one of them ones. He's gonna get the shot. But yeah, it is one of them ones. But Russ Vernon, you wanted to quickly jump in as well, and then of course we're gonna have Ryan Sonley jump in too about the Middlesbrough match. But yeah, Russ, you want to jump in quickly?
Yes, I do, Liam. And I just want to say, I saw the Sheffield Wednesday against Arsenal game, and I was on Skype talking to Mike while we were watching it, and I wrote a match report, which you can see on my website, and I'll share it out again to you guys so you can have a read if you have not missed it. I thought, well, Mike, Sheffield Wednesday were the better side. They deserved, in my opinion, to go through. Arsenal, despite the early injuries, didn't put up much of a fight that I would have expected them to with the side that they put out, especially having Lacazette, Mertesacker in the side, and players who have won the World Cup or have impressed on international form and impressed me in recent weeks for Arsenal in the league. And I thought Sheffield Wednesday looked like the Premier League side that day, and Arsenal were struggling in the Championship for me. And I just want to quickly jump in on the Man United Middlesbrough game. I saw that for me in the first half. None of the sides really were creating any of the real opening chances of the match. Second half, Middlesbrough just edged it for me in terms of chances and possession-wise. And then in extra time, I think Middlesbrough edged it over both periods of extra time. And then on the penalties, I think any moment now, the Michael Carrick penalty is just going to land aside me in my bedroom window. He's still flying that high.
You got jokes for us. Okay.
Preparing that scripted ad-lib all week. It's scripted ad-lib.
So I just want to say, for me, I think based on the performance, which we'll go into later, based on the performance from the weekend, I think Man United will have a decent season in the Premier League and will be a real strong force for the top 4 spots come May. For me, Liam.
You know what, Lily Lumi, you wanted to jump in as well on Man United Middlesbrough.
Yeah, just like everyone was saying, Middlesbrough were a much, much better team. And I, for one, being the fan of the club I'm glad Manchester United lost, I'm afraid.
Lily, come on now. No need to.
Well, I'm sorry. Just me, I don't like Manchester United. It's simple.
You're not the only one.
No, okay? Please don't ruin what's been a wonderful relationship.
He's pleading, please, somebody think about the Jizzy.
Well, I'm sure we'll get onto the plight of Leeds United soon enough. So I look forward to that.
Yeah.
See, now here's the thing, right? Because you've gone and done that. I have to tell you, I'm really not that kind-hearted a guy. I'm actually quite vindictive. I'm vicious, and I'm mean. So yeah, we'll get on to Leeds.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you're vicious and delicious. Come like, what's it? Scott Norton and Buff Bagwell.
It's all right. I'm expecting you to get on to Leeds, so I don't. It's fine. It's all within being a Leeds fan. There's always controversy. Believe me.
Oh, we're definitely getting onto that in general talking points. But Ryan Sonley, you wanted to jump in on Middlesbrough United as well.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in because I think just not. But Middlesbrough, first half, they weren't the best side. I thought Man U were just edged it for me. Second half, I thought Middlesbrough dominated them and deserved to have a goal. I mean, there should have been a penalty in the game through Daniel Ayala punching the ball away, which I could clearly see it was a punch. And I mean, lucky enough, we got on the right side of the referee on that night. First period of extra time, we were just dominating them. Second period, just dominating them again. And penalties. Well, Rooney steps up to take the first penalty, and you're thinking, Rooney, who is a top-notch player, should score from 12 yards against a young Thomas Majas who doesn't play that often. And he misses because Majas saves it. And I was just like, yes, get in. Come on. We can do this. And I mean, I was phoning Jezzy at full time and at the end of the game, winding him up because Jezzy, we're in the quarterfinals. Where are Man U?
Wait, hold on. Actually, speaking of the quarterfinals, your chance. What do you think? What do you think Middlesbrough's chances are against Everton? You've got a home draw at the Riverside. What do you think your chances are in terms of going on potentially to the final?
Well, as Middlesbrough won the Capital One Cup back in 2004, as it was known as the Carling Cup, we had to beat teams like Man U, Arsenal, Everton, Tottenham. So who says that we can't beat Everton? I mean, it's going to be in front of a good 30,000 crowd on that Tuesday night. So, I mean, hopefully they can progress and get into the semis, because I think if we beat Everton, we have a chance. Because you can't write us off. We've got probably one of the best teams in the Championship. And, I mean, it's the best team. I mean, Stuart Downing, I mean, he got dropped against Wolves, comes back in and does well. More on that later in the show.
Who's stealing my scripts and ad-libs? But anyway, no. I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, it's going to be interesting because the draw actually throws up a few interesting little games there. Actually, some are saying that it's like it could be potentially a Liverpool Man City final. Some are saying that I'm not jumping the gun on that yet because we weren't brilliant against Bournemouth, but then we didn't need to be. But it is one of them ones where I mean, Brad Hicks has said on Arsenal they were borderline pathetic and showed no fight, but that's the lesson both we and Arsenal were taught. Don't play your reserves. It all really kind of depends on how you prioritize the cups. Depends on really how you're doing in the league. I mean, well, then again, Chelsea can't really prioritize anything. But yeah, more on that later. But no, it is a case of with the Capital One Cup. Be a little bit of that prestige is starting to come back. Maybe because Man City are playing strong teams, like literally full strength every round, and they've been doing that for a couple of years now. So it's an interesting one. I mean, the recognition, the prestige, back to it. You never know. But moving on swiftly in terms of results. Thursday, 29th of October 2015, we start with the Sky Bet Championship. Leeds 0, Blackburn 2. Craig Conway, within the first minute, scoring, lashing it in near left-hand post. It is one of them was a good finish from Conway. And Jordan Rhodes scoring a second for Blackburn Rovers. And you know what? The funny thing is, this was mentioned on the on Football League Tonight as it happens. What was mentioned in regards to this result is that recently Blackburn have won more often at Elland Road than Leeds have, which is hilarious. Which in theory is hilarious. But yeah, moving on to Friday 30th of October. Moving on Friday, 30th of October, and I'm coming back to that comment. Sky Bet League 2, Cambridge 1, Bristol Rovers 2. Core on 33 minutes, Harrison equalising on 66, and Taylor scoring on 82. Also, Sky Bet Championship, Brentford 1, QPR 0, a local derby. Juritin getting the only goal of the game on 56 minutes. Brentford in this one actually, sorry, not Brentford, QPR actually hit the post twice in this one, and we're also welcoming back, I think it's welcoming back Charlie Austin after injury as well. Coming into the weekend's results from the Football League. Saturday 31st of October 2015, Sky Bet Championship, Birmingham 0, Wolves 2. Dave Edwards on 11 minutes and Ojo on 84 minutes. Rounding out a good little victory for Wolves, it must be said. We've got a couple of people who'll be happy about that one, namely Kieran Riley. Big shout out to him. Bristol City 1, Fulham 4. Dembele on 2 minutes, again on 18 minutes as well. Ross McCormack with, oh my word, with a thunderbolt on 33 minutes. Goal of the week contender. Stuff of the week is later on in the show. Tunnicliffe scoring on 36 minutes and Khadija scoring on 93 minutes, what turned out to be just a consolation. Burnley 2, Huddersfield 1. Andre Gray scoring a penalty on 12 minutes and scoring again on 43 minutes, and a Duff own goal on 88 minutes. Derby County 3, Rotherham 0. Vyman scoring on 7 minutes, Butterfield scoring on 45 minutes, and Keogh scoring on 76 minutes. Ipswich 0, Cardiff 0. A little footnote about that: only about 200 Cardiff fans actually travelled for that game, which is kind of odd. But yeah, Middlesbrough 3, Charlton 0. Charlton really put to the sword. David Nugent on 60 minutes, Albert Adoma on 66 minutes, and Daniel Ayala on 78 minutes, rounding out the scoring. MK Dons 0, Hull 2. El Mohammadi on 19 minutes, opening scoring, and Diame scoring on 95 minutes. Reading 1, Brighton 1. Murphy on 51. Vidra equalising for Reading on 78 minutes. High flying Sheffield Wednesday at the moment. Forestieri with the only goal on 68 minutes against Nottingham Forest. It's one of them ones. They were lucky not to be a couple of sendings off in that one. Preston 0, Bolton 0. Sky Bet League 1, Bury 4, Blackpool 3. Rose on 2 and 10 minutes. Cullen on 12 minutes for Blackpool. Hussey on 27 minutes for Bury. Soars on 34 minutes for Bury. Robertson on 44, and Redshaw scored a penalty on 84 minutes. There's more information. There's more that we're going to talk about in terms of Blackpool later on in the show, so stick around for that. A lot to be said. Coventry 3, Peterborough 2. Anderson on 15 minutes. Ostuma on 36 minutes. Vincelot on 56 minutes. Armstrong on 80 minutes and 87 minutes as well. So the Posh going down 3-2 at Coventry. Crew 1, Sheffield United 0. Cole Clough scoring on 71 minutes, the only goal in that game. Doncaster 2, Colchester 0. Grant on 41 minutes, Williams on 64 minutes. Fleetwood 0, Chesterfield 1. Silva and Ebanks Blake on 30 minutes with the only goal of the game. Millwall 0, Bradford 0. Oldham 0, Burton 1. El Kayati scoring the only goal of the game on 17 minutes. Port Vale 2, Shrewsbury 0. Dodds on 52 minutes. O'Connor scoring from the penalty spot on 18 minutes. Scunthorpe 2, Barnsley 0. Part on 6 minutes. Ball rounding out a 2-0 win. Southend 2, Rochdale 2. Big shout out to Tom Wood and won the PT family. Mooney opened the scoring on 39 minutes with a penalty. Ryan Leonard on 41 minutes. Bunny scored on 63 minutes, and Rose equalised on 79 minutes. Walsall 3, Gillingham 2. McDonald on 12 minutes opening and scoring. Dak scoring a penalty on 32 minutes. Morris on 37 minutes. Lalkovic on 38 minutes. And Dimitriou winning it on 91 minutes for Walsall. Wigan 1, Swindon 0. Da Silva Jr. scoring on 96 minutes, the only goal of the game. Sky Bet League 2, Crawley Town 1, York City 0. Walton with the only goal of the game on 86 minutes from 12 yards. Wimbledon 2, Hartlepool 0. Kennedy on 18 minutes, Taylor on 28 minutes. Barnet 2, Exeter 0. A Brown own goal on 34 minutes, opened the scoring, and Clark added another one on 54 minutes. Carlisle 3, Yeovil 2. not the 8 minutes, Reigns on 31 minutes, Gillespie on 55 minutes, and Reigns again sealing the win on 75 minutes for Carlisle. Leyton Orient 0, Accrington 1. Dean Windass's son scoring the only goal of the game on 25 minutes. Mansfield 0, Wycombe Wanderers 2. O'Neill on 8 minutes and Holloway on 95 minutes getting those 2 goals. Newport County 2, Northampton Town 2. Hoskins on 10 minutes, Richards on 30 minutes, Barrow on 31 minutes for Newport, and John Lewis for Newport equalising on 38 minutes, and that's how it stayed. Notts County 2, Portsmouth 1. Lavery on 19 minutes, Burke on 22 minutes, and Sheehan winning it for Notts County on 77 minutes. Big shout outs there to Big T, aka Thomas Hewitt, one half of the tag team champions in the world of being a wrong. It is one of them. Was Plymouth 2, Morecambe 0. Carey on 3 minutes, Tanner on 12 minutes, giving Plymouth Argyle the win. And of course, we know Ryan Sonley is going to jump in on that one in a minute. Speaking of one, the PT family, who we know is going to jump in on a result. Stevenage 1, Oxford United 5. Taylor opened the scoring on 13 minutes. Whelpdale on 17 minutes. McComb was sent off on 27 minutes. Sercombe scored a penalty on 27 minutes for Oxford United. McDonald scored on 66. Tong was sent off on 67. Taylor scored again on 72 minutes. And Kieran Roof rounded out the scoring on 75 minutes. Now, taking this in reverse order, Mike Harniman, Stevenage 1, Oxford United 5. You jumping on that?
Yes. I really, after the Portsmouth game a couple of weeks ago, and the Wycombe game as well, kind of leading up to it. Obviously, Wycombe are doing really well. They're flying in the league, but we do sort of usually tend to do well against the big guns in the league. But obviously, Saturday was a Halloween horror show, as they said, and it was kind of appropriate the day that it came, and it was dreadful, start to finish, absolutely dreadful. Even with 11 men, didn't get near them, weren't in the game. Jamie McComb, I do not rate him anyway. I think he's a bit slow, but if you're going to smoke as a centre back, that's what you get. So that's exactly the reasoning behind him being how he is, and obviously he couldn't keep up. I was shocked by the result, absolutely disgusted by the result and the performance. And Sheringham, I think your time's coming to an end pretty soon. Obviously, we've got Gillingham in the FA Cup, we've got Yeovil coming up away from home as well in the league, and that is a relegation dogfight at the moment. Obviously, where we were last season shouldn't be like this, but it's how it is. When you make changes and you change your whole squad and you change your management, then you can't expect any form of consistency. So absolutely devastated, disgusted with the performance and the result, and showing them you haven't got much time. You really better up your game.
Wait. Answer me a question. Just humour me with this. When did Teddy Sheringham take over at Stevenage?
It was the summer, so it was only like June, July, whatever it was.
And already his job's at risk. Is this where you
100%. And if anyone says it isn't, then they have to watch what they're... they actually have to evaluate the team, because these players, a lot of them are not good enough at all. They've played at higher levels. They've won promotion. They've performed at a lot better standard and a lot better levels than this. And the only way I can see us going, if we carry on like this, is back down to the conference again. And nobody wants that. So if it means you have to get rid of him, then yeah, that's the only way we can do it.
But then my question would be, is there a point even hiring someone in the first place if you're not going to give them at least a season?
I see what you're saying, but I think we had Gary Smith. We didn't give Gary Smith a season. We gave him until January or December or whatever it was, and then he was let go, and we brought Wesley back. So it's going exactly the same way. Obviously, the board and Phil Wallace have looked at Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank at Burton. They're like, okay, obviously if he can do a good job, maybe someone similar might be able to come in and do a job. He's got a bit of coaching experience with West Ham, but it hasn't worked, and they've got to hold their hands up and say it hasn't worked before it really gets into dire dire trouble at the moment because being fifth from bottom, if you look where we finished last season, we were in the playoffs and we weren't going away from Wembley. And then the club let go of Wesley after that, and he moves on and is now rightly in League One. So I think, we really have to think about what we do with Sheringham. Whether it's difficult really because obviously they want to give him time, but we can't give him that much time that then we're back down in the conference again and fighting off relegation. That's exactly the way that it could go. So it's difficult, but I personally I wouldn't give him the full season because at this rate, with the squad he's got there, these are all his players, by the way, that he signed in the summer.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Let me play devil's advocate and I'll ask you a question. Instead of sacking someone, wouldn't it be more productive, and especially with the great clubs usually have stability, and so in the interest of stability, and would it not be more helpful, at least trying to look long term at some sort of 2, 3, 4 year plan, which is still kind of semi short term, but still, wouldn't it be more helpful to the club, to the side, and to the stability of both, to bring in people to help Sheringham rather than just getting rid of him? Because then you don't want the revolving door of management, do you?
No, potentially that could be another route of going down, but it depends who it is. Like someone like maybe a Richard Money who's now left Cambridge, someone like that would work. Maybe someone who's got the actual experience as a manager and knows the league as well. Because Sheringham going into management for the first time, he knows a bit about West Ham, he knows a bit about Spurs and whatever, but he doesn't know League Two, and that's what we're missing at the moment.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd just play devil's advocate and ask that question. Brian Sonley, you wanted to jump in on Plymouth's result.
At first, I'm not going to jump in on Plymouth's result because I'm going to jump in on Middlesbrough's result.
Feel free, but let's get to it.
Middlesbrough winning 3-0. I mean, when I saw the team, I was thinking, not the strongest of teams, but he brought in Bruno Zuccolani, who he got on loan from Man City, and dropped Grant Ledbetter to the bench, who's our club captain. And he gave the captain's armband to a person he fell out with just less than 10 days ago, straight down in the captain's armband. And apparently he did what a captain should do and pushed that team forward, and we won 3-0. So I was really happy with that. And Argo, don't get me started on this because it's not Graham Carey. He's called Graham Scary because that
was not a Halloween reference, was it? Scripted ad-libs again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he scared Barry Roach because Barry Roach didn't even move. He didn't even know what to do. I mean, Graham Carey after the game went, the sun was in my eyes the whole first half. And I was like, and you pull off a worldie of a goal like that, which is obviously a goal of the week contender because it was goal of the day on Sky Sports News. And then Craig Tanner scoring a similar goal, but not carrying it like Graham Carey did. But it hit the post and went in, and I was really happy. And I mean, and then I got confirmation after the game that I could be interviewing Graham Carey and Craig Tanner.
Oh, interesting stuff. This one, that was good luck if it happened.
Come on, you Greens!
P90X! Sorry, just reminded me of a Danny Doran reference. Danny Doran's YouTube available at Cape. Love them guys. Lily Lumi, you jumping in on the Leeds results from the weekend?
Yeah, because it was a shock. I won't say what I really think it would involve a very weak word, but it was a ridiculously bad performance. That's all I can say on that subject. Having gone 2-0 down within 6 minutes, it was ridiculous. And now Chilino is not And apparently, well, I heard, because I watched it on television, that I heard them chanting very, which they can because the fans and they pay for it, but they were chanting Cellino, and now apparently today he said, I'm not going to any more matches anymore because I'm not having that, basically.
We'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that later. There's a lot.
He's basically feeling sorry for himself, and I'll be glad when he's gone, to be honest. I thought he was doomed from the beginning.
Well, it's a case of with that. Hold on to that point because we will be talking about that later. But in terms of the result itself, as an isolated case against Blackburn Rovers, thoughts on that? I mean, especially conceding so early, and it's all.
Oh, just don't. I just wonder whether Steve Evans is going to be, whether he can actually bring any players in, because we need some new players in there, I'm afraid, because it's just defensively we're rubbish, and Sylvester, the goalkeeper, fills me with dread every time he touches the ball because he just flaps it in. You just don't know what's going to happen, basically.
No, I hear that. I mean, Russ Vernon, did you want to add anything to that in terms of Leeds' latest defeat?
Yes, and then I want to get into Derby, Rotherham and Birmingham Wolves from weekend as well, Liam. And started off with my team, Leeds United. I watched the game on Sky as well, and going down early on, I thought he will give us a chance to get back into the game. It took only 17 seconds for Blackburn to open the scoring, and 17 is a number that Mr. Cellino doesn't like. Bit superstitious there on 17 seconds. Only the best part of the game that come out of Thursday's game was, as I mentioned last week on the show, I want to say a big thank you on behalf of Sky Thompson's family for everyone, including the Blackburn Rovers fans and coaching staff, for standing up and applauding in the 17th minute for Sky Thompson, who lost her battle, who had a bleed on the brain the Friday before the Blackburn game and passed away when she was at home by herself, aged 17. Massimo Cellino even joined in with the minute's applause. So big shout out to all the Leeds fans and Blackburn fans, including the coaching staffs of both teams for that, for joining in with that. Moving on now to Derby 3, Rotherham United 0. I was listening to this on the radio and then saw the highlights on the Football League Tonight programme on Channel 5. It was Derby just totally dominated Rotherham from start to finish, and Rotherham didn't really look like they was going to get into much of scoring opportunities. Neil Redfern did say that his team lacked fighting spirit, which, after seeing the highlights, I do agree with. Moving on to Birmingham Wolves, I thought it was a fantastic game and Wolves deserved to win. Even says he thought Wolves played well on Saturday, but Birmingham slipped up a lot during the game. The 2 goals were good, and he says it was good to see Dave Edwards back on the score sheet along with Ojo, who's on loan from Liverpool as well. He says let's hope Wolves can continue on this winning run and get back to winning ways more regular in the Sky Bet Championship. And he says it's so can't be but he says from a very nice week in Brighton after visiting his girlfriend over there. He says a big hello to everyone here at the PT family, and asked me to mention his thoughts on the Birmingham game after I had my say on the Birmingham Wolves game for him, which I said I would.
Good stuff. I mean, it is one of them ones where it's like, hey, it's another defeat for Leeds, and the situation is not exactly looking rosy in regards to them. I said more on that in general talking points. By the way, Tottenham are 2-0 up against Aston Villa. It's half time. Dele Alli getting the second goal, scoring right on half time. Dembele on 3 minutes, Dele Alli on 45 minutes on. Leeds haven't had the best PR on a general basis this week. But but it is one of them ones where let's jump right back into the weekend's Premier League action. Before we do that, I just want to mention Sky Bet League 2, Dagenham Redbridge 0, Luton 2, Guttridge on 41 minutes and Lawless on 65 minutes. From Saturday 31st of October 2015, the day when Barcelona were creating a bit of Halloween havoc of their own. Yeah, yes, I did just drop that OWR. Actually, you know what? There is kind of a video you have to drop with that as well, but we'll get onto that a little later. But no, it is what of them was. Yeah. Speaking of a bit of Halloween havoc, Chelsea won, only one, Liverpool 3. Of course, with the live bird upon my chest, this is the week's result that I actually love the best, for sure. It is one of them ones, but you know what? Yeah, it is one of them ones where Ramirez opened the scoring from a header from an Azpilicueta cross on 4 minutes, but Philippe Coutinho, the little Brazilian magician, scoring in first half stoppage time. There is a little bit of conjecture because it happened 2.5 minutes into stoppage time when there was supposed to be a minimum of 2 minutes. When that board goes up, it means a minimum of that time. So Jose, hold the corner. Anyway, Felipe Coutinho scored on 74 minutes as well, and then Christian Benteke on 83 minutes. Icing on the cake there, daddy. Icing on the cake. Emre Can and Lucas were booked, and in this one, it was one of them ones where especially Lucas was fortunate not to get sent off. I think it was one of them was that last challenge that he put in that Mourinho was moaning about that supposedly could have changed the game, even though Liverpool were in the ascendancy for most of the game. But anyway, it is one of them ones where it's like, I can understand why Mark Clattenburg didn't send off Lucas, because that would have been extremely harsh as a final tackle to get sent off for. But it is one of them was Chelsea sloppy at the back once again. I mean, my boys Liverpool were sloppy at the back on the first goal, but boy, especially with Benteke's goal, Benteke had no right to score on 83 minutes. Had Cahill and Terry in front of him, and it's like, wow, first touch, boom, it was neatly done. But yeah, it is one of them ones where, hey, kicking off Halloween in a big way. Chelsea must have thought it was Halloween Havoc 95, and they were seeing. It was one of them ones. They must have been thinking, look at the size of the gap between the two sides. It is one of them ones. Look at the gap. Look at the size of the gap between Chelsea and the top of the league. And in terms of their title defense, Mourinho is under pressure, apparently. So it's one of them ones. That's an interesting one. But next result, Crystal Palace 0, Man United 0. And I know Jesse Fizzle is going to come into that one in a minute as well. It is one of them ones. Bloody hell, Crystal Palace were asking the questions. Hit the woodwork on a couple of occasions too. So one of them was, they look like they should have actually snatched it. But we'll come back to that in a sec. Man City 2, Norwich 1. Otamendi on 67 minutes with the opening goal of the game. Vincent Kompany and Yaya Toure, they kind of worked that corner goal really, really kind of creatively. Because whilst everyone was focused on them, because they went to each other and started whispering, and the Norwich defense must have looked at them and been like, wait, them two are going to do something. Then Otamendi with a late run just waltzes in and headers it in. And it's like, that was neat. That was very neatly done. But Otamendi gave them the lead on 67 minutes, and Joe Hart dropped an absolute clanger to give Cameron Jerome a tap-in on 83 minutes. Martin was sent off on 88 minutes for a handball. It was one of them ones. At least it wasn't bad as, I think it was Stephen Taylor against Aston Villa for Newcastle a few years ago, where was it the St. James's Park sniper? At least it wasn't as bad as that, but it was a clear handball on the line. So we got sent off for it. And Yaya Toure scored the penalty on 89 minutes. John Ruddy, unlucky actually. It's one of them was because he dived the right way. But there was another penalty in that game. But because Yaya Toure had been taken off, I think it was Kolarov who actually took it and promptly put it wide. Don't get why you'd have a fullback taking penalties anyway, but leaving it aside. But Newcastle 0, Stoke 0, Swansea 0, Arsenal 3. Giroud on 49 minutes, opening the scoring. Laurent Koscielny on 68 minutes, and Joel Campbell, after being delivered somewhat of an ultimatum, it's now or never for him, scoring on 73 minutes. Koscielny's goal, little bit of controversy in it apparently. For me, fair goal. Fabianski came running out late, never had control of it. So hell, it's one of them ones. It stands. But it's one of them ones. If Bonnie was more ruthless, Arsenal could have been 2-0 down inside the first half easily. So it's one of them. But swings and roundabouts. Sorry, Gomis, I should say. Baffa-Tembi Jezi. But it's one of them ones. Watford 2, West Ham 0. Also, Bonnie could have been more ruthless and could have put Man City up 2-0 in the first half. Some of the chances he had. But it's one of them ones. Watford 2, West Ham 0 with Garlow on 39 and 48 minutes. And Collins was sent off on 84 minutes. Now, you know what? As much as I don't enjoy playing the blame game, Andy Carroll is at fault for one of these goals because clear it. 2 words. Clear it. I don't know why he didn't. And it was one of them was he dithered on it. Ball gets played into the middle and boom, goal. So it's one of them ones. West Brom 2, Leicester 3. Solomon Rondon scoring on 30 minutes. Quality goal as well. But Riyad Mahrez rediscovering his goal scoring touch in the last week. Mahrez, 57 minutes, 64 minutes. And Vardy, that man Vardy again on 77 minutes. And that proved to be the winning goal because Ricky Lambert scored a penalty on 84 minutes. One of the last kicks of the game, he missed a real gilt-edged chance. He just couldn't stretch for it enough. So it is one of them ones. But Sunday, 1st of November 2015, we're finally in November. Everton 6, Sunderland 2. After a very emotional week for Everton as a football club, their greatest manager, Howard Kendall, passing away during the week. And the funeral, the turnout to the funeral was amazing from all accounts and from the picture seen. So it is one of them ones where, yeah, Everton with the greatest tribute to Howard Kendall, tanking Sunderland 6-2. Deulofeu opening the scoring on 19 minutes after a couple real missed chances from them, Sunderland. But it's one of them ones. Kone scored the first of his hat-trick on 31 minutes, scored his second on 62, his third on 76 minutes. Lukaku scored on 60 minutes. Kawate scored an own goal on 55 minutes. Jermaine Defoe scored in first half stoppage time, and Fletcher scored on 50 minutes. So it is one of them was. There was that one. Southampton 2, Bournemouth 0. Davis on 31 minutes. Pella on 36 minutes, rounding out the scoring. And Victor Wanyama was sent off on 78 minutes. A little bit of a harsh one for a sending off, but you can see why. You could kind of see why when you're on the yellow. It's a stupid challenge to go in for. But Jazzy Fizzle, you want to jump in? Oh, wait, Jazzy Fizzle's going to be right back. G-Man, you want to jump in on the weekend's results that we just mentioned?
Yeah, I'll obviously start off with my boys on a better result than what happened during the Capital One Cup fixtures. Arsenal 3, Swansea 0. And as I was alluding to earlier on, you know, you saw a difference in the desire of this Arsenal team. Obviously, our first team who are in formidable form at the moment, having said earlier on as well that we beat Bayern Munich. So coming off the back of that, the confidence is high, then beating Everton, and then going into this game really in what I saw was a crunch match against a team with the quality of Swansea, who can also play football on the same sort of level as us. But not only that, also there is equally as dangerous on their day as well. But they were bitterly unlucky not to take the lead with Gomez with his one-on-one with Cech. Personally, I think he could have made the choice of actually striking the ball early and you know, at least forcing a save from Cech rather than trying to go around him, because when he did, he just left. Well, he didn't know, but he left time for Bellerin to make that super run and basically just shut him out from taking that shot on the goal. And the first goal coming with Giroud with the header was nicely taken, and it's great to see Arsenal. And I'd like to hear what Mike would say about this as well. It was great to see Arsenal actually working goals from corners. It looks like we're getting a lot better at that now, where we're actually our defensive players and the taller players in the team are actually trying to work with one another in order to try and win some of that aerial possession in the box, at free kicks and corners. And for me, it's a lot like what Man City do with Company and there, and what Liverpool were doing with Skirtle, and when you had Agger, where there was a lot of movement between the defenders, really jostling the defensive team that they're going up against in the box. And Arsenal haven't really shown that in recent years. So it was a nice goal for Giroud.
What about Ozil? What about Ozil as well, though? Because Ozil's an interesting one. I'm just reading. He's got nine. He's got 9 assists.
Ozil in a minute. I'll just talk about Koscielny's goal.
Cool.
In terms of what you said, was it a foul? Wasn't it a foul? It's a tough one because we saw what happened with Pantilimon. A couple of weeks ago?
Yeah,
where he actually got jostled off the ball. I can't remember by who, but it was an absolutely ridiculous attempt at a save, and but again, with him being a tall man, and it looked ridiculous that he actually got beaten by someone that small. It could have gone either way, so it went in Arsenal's favour. If it went against us, I could actually say, you'd expect the ref to give it, because the goalkeepers are seen as an endangered species, so they're usually protected, but it hasn't seemed to go that way this season. But yeah, leading on to Ozil, he's been fantastic. The last couple of weeks, I think his confidence has rocketed. He hasn't, in my opinion, changed much about his game. A lot of people would say, well, he's getting a lot more assists, he's getting into the game more. No, I wouldn't say that. I think he's always been in the game. I think he's always been producing a lot of chances. The stats are there to say that. It's just that now I think the players around him have finally understood how he plays. They're making the moves that he needs, and they're finding out what sort of balls that he can really pass through to them, because that is his impact on the team. He's not a defensive player. He's not going to do a great deal of defensive work when we're under the cosh. That's not what he's there for, in my personal opinion. Yeah, he is the outlet guy. He's the guy you get in the middle third. You get the ball to him, then you can start making that break, and you can, if you're the wingers, you're running out wide. If you're the top man like Giroud or Walcott, you're heading straight towards goal. And if you're the players around him in the central area, like Cazorla and Coquelin or Ramsey, you're just making space for him to take other defensive midfielders away from him, because he is that creative. And it's either you're seeing now, people will try or teams will try and man mark him two at a time. But effectively doing that, they've got to think of Sanchez, they've got to think of Cazorla. There's just too many quality players for them to actually concentrate on just the one particular player. So it's, him being in such good form has been a great bonus for the team. And that goal that he set up for Joel Campbell, 2 nutmegs in from that pass, alone just shows, when form is going for you, things like that happen. He slides the ball across the box, 2 nutmegs. Joel Campbell gets on the end of it and smashes it past the goalkeeper. And I've got to give Joel Campbell credit for keeping his head up, because as I said, I've compared him to Vela. I've got to the stages of where I don't really like disrespecting Arsenal players, but I think he is on that fine line where he's either absolutely crap or he puts in a solid performance. And hopefully, now that Theo and Ox are out, he's going to show his true colours, and his true colours are going to be that he is a top class player.
But he's going to have to. I mean, now that he's got the chance, he's got to seize it with both hands. Otherwise, well, he's already been given the ultimatum of it's now or never. I want to come back to Ozil though, because some of the criticism of him not only has been unfair, but has been just utterly scathing at times. And I want to get your view. I mean, we've just heard your view on Ozil, but I also wouldn't mind hearing Mike Harniman's view on Ozil as well, because he's just put something interesting in the Skype chat. But I know, Mike, especially on the social networks, you've been extremely critical of Ozil in the past. And it's not only you, there's not a swiper only you, there's North London Gunaloro on FB as well. Hopefully he's tuned in. I think Jamie Bailey's been another one. Wayne Schumann, one of the PT family, has been extremely vocal in his criticism of Ozil's, and other things like, he's not even, and this might have even been it was even from you, Michael, or it was from Wayne, where it was like, 42 million, guy ain't even worth 42 pence. So
mind you, you are talking about Arsene Wenger out fans.
Yeah, I knew it was from one of you. I didn't want to ascribe a quote to the wrong person. But has your view changed? Because it looks like your view has changed.
Oh yeah, it's changing now. Looking at him this season, I think I was judgmental. I gave him too much stick. I didn't give the guy a chance, and I kind of jumped to a conclusion before giving him long enough to actually judge the way he was going to perform and the way he'd actually fit into the team. So I think it's changing at the moment, and I think if he continues and he continues to prove me wrong, and is actually there for like when Alexis isn't performing, like I've said in the chat, that's the thing about us this season, is when Alexis is having a poor game like he did on Saturday, because he looked a bit exhausted and a bit jaded and stuff. Ozil in recent weeks has really improved, and he's actually it's strange to actually see that the way he's improved, and I'm shocked by it. I knew he'd probably come good eventually, but I didn't think it'd be as quick as it was.
I hear that. I mean, I just thought it was an interesting one. I mean, Ryan Sonley, you wanted to quickly jump in on Ozil, and if anyone else wants to jump in on some of the other results as well, Brad, we'd love to hear your views on Leicester as well on that result, because boy, West Brom did have one of the meanest defenses in the league, and then went there and scored 3 times. But Ryan, your view on the Ozil situation?
Well, when Ozil first signed for Arsenal, I thought he ain't going to cut it very fine at all with Arsenal. And then when he's linked up with Sanchez, he's done well. And then obviously when Sanchez has gone off, Ozil still carried on the current form. So of late, Ozil is probably going to be one of them players that could be up for Player of the Year.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if form can be kept up. It's like the Jamie Vardy thing. Jamie Vardy, brilliant form at the moment. It's one of them was brilliant form at the moment. I think it will tail off as Leicester tail off, but I'm hoping, like I've said in a couple of places, I really hope Jamie Vardy keeps up his form for the rest of the season. I really do. I hope he kicks on, because his story is fantastic. And that's the kind of inspirational story that gets other people interested in football and involved in the game, because it's a great backstory. I can see that tailing off, him and Morris, but them two as a partnership, I think there's 15 goals between them already. So them two are smashing it at the moment. So it is one of them ones. I mean, you got Ozil with 9 assists this season, top in the league, and Morris is second on that list. So it's like, and Vardy scored in 8 straight Premier League games, joining Daniel Sturridge and Ruud van Nistelrooy. So it's a case of like the form of certain players. The form of certain players is fantastic at the moment. You just hope that guys can keep it up, so to speak. I know how wrong that sounds coming from me. So
it's like,
what's that?
Like it's just riding waves, isn't it? Because last season we had Costa, who was in formidable form. Fabregas was in formidable form. That Chelsea team where every week he was getting an assist of some sort or a part of a big team goal. Costa was just banging them in here and there everywhere. And the likes of Vardy, he's riding a very good wave, and it's good to see that he hasn't let it get to his head, and he's just trying week in, week out. And like, just touching on Leicester, it's just amazing seeing how they're playing football at the moment. They are literally the comeback kings of this season, which was a Man United feature of like 2-3 seasons ago. When and then now look at the football they're playing as well under Ranieri. He's definitely got them clicking, and this team wasn't that much different from what was playing last season. So
yeah. They're smacking it at the moment. Speaking of another team who was kind of exceeding expectations as well so far in terms of their away record was West Ham. But we got a text in from Jamie Bailey, High Pitch Talk, Hope all as well. Won't be on the show tonight, but I'm sure it'll be a great one again. I was at the Watford West Ham game on Saturday, and the goals for the Hornets came from very poor mistakes from West Ham United. Nonetheless, it was a professional performance from the club that I currently work for, and I believe Kike Flores Sanchez will be the reason Watford stay up. In my opinion, the difference between the three promoted clubs has been the players they have brought in. Norwich City haven't really spent well, and AFC Bournemouth have been very unlucky with injuries, so Watford have been fortunate to get away with it so far. I do very much agree on that. You have certain teams who their goalkeepers are performing very well, very well. Jack Butland against Newcastle, my word, just brilliant on his own. Maybe a player of the week contender. Stuff for the weeks later on in the show. But the fact is, you've got certain individuals performing very well, and it's basically galvanizing teams. So, and for me also as well, looking at referees as well, there were a couple of bookings for simulation. Andy Carroll getting booked, namely for simulation. There was one in, I think, with the West Brom Leicester game as well. And it's like, you know what? I think the refs have done very well. I think they've done very well this weekend, and I applaud the referees. And I'm in agreement with Lucas Leiva. It's a case of the refs have done very, very well. So it is one of them ones. But it is one of them ones. Russ Vernon, you wanted to jump in quickly before we need to move on.
Yes, I do, Liam, and first and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to the Red Men, your boys Liverpool, for a fantastic performance and a fantastic comeback against Chelsea and Mr. Mourinho. I don't want to say nothing more about that because I didn't want to say nothing in your post-match interview. Moving on now to Man City Norwich, I thought Norwich were very unlucky to not take a point from that game. What were Joe doing? He could be a flop of the week contender for me. Joe with is dropping off the ball. Also, Arsenal, I thought the goals from them was fantastic, especially Joel Campbell's finishing to the bottom corner. And I think Leicester would have thought they're doing well so far, continuing from where they left off end of last season, picking up good results, and they're doing well at the moment. Just 3 points behind the leaders and Arsenal at the moment. So who knows? It's going to be one of those seasons where anyone can beat anyone, and it's going to be a very good season for me in the Premier League this season. I think Watford, like Jimmy Bailey said, played very good football and showed some decent performances and some decent performances. Watching the Spurs game tonight, I've got a pound bet on Spurs to win tonight against Aston Villa from the local bookmakers put on earlier today. So at the moment I'm winning some money. I'll let you know how much I win a bit later on if Spurs do win. And I think, I agree with Mike what he just said in there. If Jimmy Vardy don't get included for the England squad in the next few friendlies against France and Germany and Spain as well, and Holland that they've got coming up, then Roy Hodgson's a clown. He needs to pick him, and that seems to be scoring goals for fun.
See, for me, it's one of them ones. I wouldn't say Roy Hodgson is clueless if he doesn't pick Jamie Vardy for the pure fact that it's friendlies. For competitive matches, based on form, Vardy deserves a chance. But the fact is, it's I can't call someone. I wouldn't be able to call someone a clown or a joke or whatever you want to call them based on friendly matches. That would be like saying someone's going to win the title based on pre-season games, in my opinion. But it is one of them ones where, yeah, Vardy definitely deserves a shot for his country. I mean, Rooney's not firing. He's on more of a drought. He's on more of a drought in terms of goals than the Sahara Desert is in terms of rain. So it's one of them ones. His goal scoring form is drier than Kunta Kinte's ankles at the moment. So it's a case of, well, we shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. But you know what? On a side note, we would like to ask the question that everybody wants the answer to. And that question is, Mr. Ian Kerr, are you with us?
I'm with you in body, spirit, and internet.
Well, for the thousands in attendance and the millions listening via YouTube and later on via podcasts on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio as well. Oh, let's get ready for a roundup. Oh, you didn't know? Ian Kerr's going to tell you about A-League football.
And not only are we going to talk about A-League football tonight, Liam, I'm going to talk about the FFA Cup as well, because somebody made fun of me last week because I didn't watch the match. Somebody... right? Well, I watched the match this week, all right? Just saying. Quick roundup then of what happened on the weekend. Let's start with Friday night, because Friday night was quite an amusing game. You know, I almost every time I make fun of Melbourne City, don't I? Because they've got all this money, and yet, you know, they were 2-0 up against the Newcastle Jets, and you know what it's like. You're watching a game and you're watching Twitter at the same time, and everybody's on Twitter saying, Melbourne City, they're brilliant. They're going to win the league. Their manager is a tactical genius. He made 2 substitutions, lost the momentum, and Newcastle Jets came back to beat him 3-2. So what's the moral of the story? Number one, don't listen to anybody on Twitter. They're usually idiots. Unless it's me, of course. You know. Other lessons, you can't bank on Melbourne City this year. Saturday, Sydney FC 3, Central Coast Mariners 1. Brisbane Roar beat Adelaide United 3-0. Brisbane Roar are doing very well this season. Adelaide United doing not so good. Sunday, Western Sydney 1, Perth Glory 0. Western Sydney getting a win. They needed that. And then Monday night, Melbourne time, which was this morning UK time, Melbourne Victory 3, Wellington Phoenix 0 on their now traditional Melbourne Cup Eve matchups. That's right, tomorrow in Australia, or today it is now in Australia, there is a big horse race, and the nation stops for a horse race. Speaks volumes about us as a people, as a nation, that we get so hung up on a bloody horse race. I'm from the part of Australia that doesn't give a rat's about the rugby. You may as well have beaten us in hockey or tiddlywinks.
What about curling?
No, England didn't win. Who was it that beat Australia in the final? It wasn't England, was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't England. Did England make the final? Again, I don't care though. Somebody's just answered this question seriously in the Skype chat. Here's a hint, don't take me seriously. Imagine that I'm on Twitter. Anyway, FFA Cup. So we had the FFA Cup during the week. Melbourne Victory beat Hume City. Hume City, well, they had a few chances, but they weren't really in it. The scoreline flattered Melbourne Victory, who really struggled for most of the match. Took the lead through a penalty and then had 2 junk time goals. Remember junk time? Does junk time still exist? Liam, you know about these things. Junk time. Do people still talk about junk time?
We used to have it as Fergie time over here.
Fergie time, different to junk. Fergie time different to junk time. Anyway, so this means that Perth Glory will be playing Melbourne Victory in the final next weekend. And yes, people listening, I will try and watch the game, unless I've got something better to do. So there you go. Now, what's else? Big news, what's happening in Australia. There was something I had to tell you guys about. Remember last week I mentioned that it looks like Wellington Phoenix is going to get kicked out of the league and they're going to add a Sydney team. Remember last week, Liam? Wasn't last week's segment brilliant?
Yeah, the extra Sydney derby again. Who needs enough?
The extra Sydney derby, because having 6 a season isn't enough. We want to have 9. Well, I reckon we should just put every team in the league in Sydney and have a derby every week. In fact, you'd end up having 5 derby matches every weekend. That'd be great for football. It'd be great for the broadcaster. It'd be great for the fans. The FFA runs the league in Australia. So it's, how in the UK in the early 90s, the Football League split off from the FA, right? So the Premier League is not run by the FA anymore. And now there's rumblings in Australia saying we've got to do the same thing because the FFA couldn't organise a steak sandwich at a butcher's barbecue. All right. So, anyway, I won't go on and on about that. Or maybe I'll talk about that more next week. Somebody's going to ask me how Paddy Kuznorbo went on the weekend. All right, until they let in the 3 goals is the answer.
I love that. Oh, he was doing all right until he conceded 3. That's definitely a little curveball right on strike 1.
He was one of their better players, I have to say. One of Melbourne City's better players, but that's like me. Being one of the less crybaby people in this house, given the number of babies in this house. Anyway, right.
But
anyway,
I was gonna ask you in terms of the podcast, heard the roundup, buy the shirts, buy the mags. Where can we find out more information?
Now, good people of Pitch Talk, the magazine has gone to print. So if you're hoping to get it at a discount, sorry, you've missed the boat. It's only available at full price now, so you need to get in and buy it soon because we're not doing a massive print run this time. We're going to have a limited edition, so if you want a copy of it, get in there and buy a copy. If you're too late, it'll be just too bad, too sad. So what else can I tell you? So magazine, you go to thinwhitelinemagazine.com and you can buy it there through your PayPal or your credit card. If you just want to send cash, don't know how we're going to do that. Talk to Liam. Organise cash payments through Liam. Liam will take his cut and then hand on the rest of the money to me. We do have a Twitter account. After I bagged Twitter before, we do have a Twitter account. It's Tweet White Line. So go to Twitter, search for Thin White Line or Tweet White Line. You'll find us there somewhere. We're on Facebook, Thin White Line Magazine. We're on that other thing. What's it called? Instagram. We're not on Snapchat. Liam, this is what young people use Snapchat, don't they? Should we be on Snapchat? Is that where you send naked photos to each other? Snapchat? Is that what Snapchat is?
That was the gimmick that actually put me off it for a long time. But apparently it's not that bad. Apparently it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. There's a recommendation. Snapchat, it's not that bad. Shoot LJA. So we're not on Snapchat at the moment. But yeah. Any questions? What did I have for dinner? Things like that.
Yeah. Any questions from the Skypers? For
how's the kangaroos comes through? Kangaroos not bad. Some people eat it rather rare though, and I don't like it rare. What's better than kangaroo though is emu. Emu is pretty good. Crocodile though, I've had crocodile and it's a bit bland. It's a bit bland. Emu sausages, pretty good.
We need to get you out some seasoning. Season it up, marinate it, all that. I love it. Oh, that is tremendous. That is tremendoso.
I've never had koala.
Why would you have koala? Them cute little cuddly.
I'm not sure there's a lot of meat on the koala. They're protected too, I think, so you're not really supposed to eat them.
Yeah. Jazzy Fizzle was asked a question. Who has been the player of the season so far?
Player of the season so far? Interesting question and one I'm completely unprepared for. there's been, so this is the opposite of flop of the week, basically, isn't it? Whilst I've been bagging Melbourne City, their best player is actually very good. That's Aaron Moy, MOOY. He's a very good player, and he's doing pretty well. I mean, he's the star he's not in a sea of duds. He's a sea of underperforming players at the moment. He's been very good. From Sydney FC, their striker, whose name eludes me, isn't that terrible? He's really turned it on this season. So there have been a couple of good players there. It's still early days. I mean, we've played about 4 games now. So 4 games in, FC is on top of the ladder. Adelaide United at the bottom. So early days yet to be really saying who's the greatest. Obviously, the best magazine in Australia is Thin White Line magazine. So that's just by the way.
There you go. It is one of them ones. You've heard the roundup. Buy the shirts. Buy the mags. Thin White Line. It's one of them was at Tweet White Line on Twitter, facebook.com/Thin White Line Magazine. Also on Instagram, Thin White Line Magazine, thinwhitelinemagazine.com as well. Remember, you can hear their podcast as well. Go and support that. I said, heard the roundup, buy the shirts, buy the mags as well. It is one of them was that you got to go and support from grassroots up rather than top down. So it is one of them. Ian, I'd like to say a massive thank you on behalf of myself, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, and Jazzy Fizzle, and also the PT family as well for the A-League round up, all the way from across the pond. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Thanks, Liam. You're a beautiful human being.
Oh, I try. At least someone thinks that. Oh, no, tremendoso. But you know what? It is about that time where we up right there, exclusive to your Monday Night Footballing Fix. That being Pitch Talk. You know what? We still got a hell of a lot of show left. So let's go into the next segment, which is
Talking Points.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is his Pitch Talk and his Monday night. Tottenham 2, Aston Villa 1 is the latest score. About 80 minutes gone. AU on 79. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, in the Premier League, it's Spurs 2-1 Aston Villa. About 80 minutes played in that at 1. But this is his Pitch Talk. Yeah, let's roll into some talking points of the general variety. And where we're going, Remi Garde. Aston Villa confirmed ex-Leon boss as manager from the 2nd of November 2015 today. Aston Villa have appointed Remi Garde as their new manager on a 3.5-year deal. The Frenchman, who's 49, succeeds Tim Sherwood and will watch Aston Villa's match at Tottenham, which is going on right now, and is 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur. Jordan Ayew was scored in 79 minutes to claw one back for Aston Villa. And Remi Garde is watching that from the stands. Remi Garde, who left Lyon in 2014 after 3 seasons, described joining the Premier League's bottom club as an unbelievable honour. Okay, interesting comment. Obviously, we have a difficult task in front of us, but I'm looking forward to the challenge he added. Villa have slipped to 4 straight defeats in the league, and with just 1 win since the opening day of the season, the club sacked Sherwood after 8 months in the job. A couple of weeks ago, we did speak about that on the show and the Sherwood sacking. So it's one of them was podcast, iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio, and also on YouTube. You can find the live show links as well. But Chairman Randy Lerner said, nobody at Villa can deny that we are recruited aggressive, and it's our responsibility to now harvest this talent rather than buckle under pressure and criticism. We are better than that. Remi arrived with honesty, humour, and a steely sense of what it will take for Aston Villa to be what it is meant to be. Hardworking, tireless, creative, and unwilling to concede. I don't know if he means concede goals. Anyway, sticking on potential new beginnings. Well, potential being the key word. Owen Oyston halts takeover talks with Trust from the 31st of October 2015. Blackpool owner Owen Oyston has ended talks with the Supporters Trust over a possible takeover of the club. The Trust launched a £16 million bid for the Seasiders in July. And we actually met some of the Oyston Out campaigners at the FA Cup final between Arsenal and Aston Villa. Check that out. Check that out on youtube.com/Pitch Talk in our Cup Finals playlist there. But in a letter on the club website, Oyston said he doubted they had the money or experience necessary to support the club in its hour of need. Ironic. Has been the majority shareholder since 1988, but last season saw a series of protests against the way the Oyston family run the club. Blackpool, who were in the Premier League as recently as 2010-2011, were relegated from the Championship last season. They're currently 19th in League One, having won 4 of their 14 games so far this season under manager Neil McDonald. Launching what it described as a fair and reasonable bid 3 months ago, the Blackpool Supporters Trust said a change in ownership was a logical step to try and move the club forwards. However, 81-year-old Oyston, whose son Carl was Blackpool chairman, said the trust had failed to respond to the questions which, if you were serious, you would have dealt with responsibly and comprehensively, and that if a takeover went ahead, the club would go to the wall. Addressing the trust, he continued, it would be irresponsible of me to simply hand this over to you, as it is clear to any independent observer that you could not operate it successfully. I reiterate my admiration for your tenacity, enthusiasm, commitment, and love for the club. As I've said before, these are wonderful qualities which I share with you, but these alone are not sufficient to ensure the continuance of our club. Oyston rejected the takeover offer from an unnamed third party in May, since when the Supporters Trust has been at the forefront of discussions about a possible sale of the club. Earlier this month, club president Valerie Belokon, who owns 20% of Blackpool, confirmed he was interested in acquiring a controlling stake and was holding talks with local business people about a potential investment partnership. Now, the Blackpool Supporters Trust hit back after Oyston rejected the bid. This is also from Monday, 2nd of November 2015, from the Blackpool Gazette. The Blackpool Supporters Trust have described claims made by Owen Oyston as extraordinary and farcical after he officially rejected their bid to take control of the club. The Seasiders owner issued a statement over the weekend saying it would be irresponsible of him to accept the trust's offer. Now, obviously, we've mentioned what Oyston has already said, but it is one of them ones where BST insisting a comprehensive reply to Oyston's questions was hand-delivered at the end of September, after Oyston saying there's questions basically unanswered. Now, moving on, it is one of them when Christine Seddon, BST's spokesperson, told the Blackpool Gazette, what was a surprise to us was his suggestion that we didn't answer the 10 questions. We answered the questions very thoroughly and got a lot of legal and professional advice. Owen's claims were extraordinary, really. It was a hugely disappointing statement, one which we felt was disrespectful and inaccurate. BST's offer would have seen them hand club's assets back to the Oyston family, including the Travelodge Hotel land near the stadium, and write off £3 million in outstanding loans to the Oyston-owned businesses, along with the £7 million debt to club president Valerie Belokon. But importantly for Oyston, the offer involved no cash. He added, the proposal that you put to me, which the press referred to as a £23 million hostile bid, and which you both in your letter and publicly have stated is a £16 million bid, is, as you have now admitted, no bid at all, but an invitation for me to give you all the assets and cash without you producing one penny of new money. In short, you're asking me to give you all the cash and assets, and you have not even answered the basic questions I have put to you. Protests against the Oystons continued at Bury on Saturday, with fans chanting against the owners throughout the 4-3 defeat. But Oyston was quick to defend himself, adding, I conclude by asking you and the members of the BST to get behind the club, the manager and the team, and support them. I know there will be disappointments ahead. However, I really believe that that we can get back to winning ways and return to the top flight. For my part, I am dedicating my life to achieving the success that we all want. BST were less than impressed with the response. Excuse me, and Christine said and added, it's totally farcical for him to suggest that he's the best person to run Blackpool Football Club. At Bury on Saturday, you struggle to find anyone who thinks the Oysters should remain. They are all extraordinary statements. Now, that's essentially, that situation is fans trying to take over a club. Now, that's with Blackpool, and now that's with Blackpool in League One. Stepping up to the Championship, Massimo Cellino agrees to sell shares to supporters group Leeds Fans United from the 30th of October 2015. The supporters group Leeds Fans United have announced they have reached an agreement in principle. Hold on to that because that's important. With the Leeds chairman Massimo Cellino to sell his shares in the club. A statement on Friday night from the group, which was set up in April in an attempt to buy a minority stake in the club, confirmed that the Italian is willing to walk away if he receives a satisfactory offer. That's a very key sentence right there. Leeds Fans United has today reached an agreement in principle with Massimo Cellino to purchase a majority stake in Leeds United Football Club, read the statement. And that was also tweeted out at 6 o'clock in the evening on October 30th, 2015. Cellino, who is currently appealing a ban against the ban for breaching the Football League's owners and directors rules following a conviction for tax evasion this year, met the group on Friday and later confirmed on BBC Radio Leeds that he has agreed to deal in principle. 100% I will sell to the fans if they want to buy it and look after the club. The fans are the only asset the club has, he said. I'm sad and embarrassed. My dream was to do my best, but I've achieved nothing, and family aren't even with me. I'm trying to protect the club. Okay. But at the same time, it means I've exposed myself. That sounds so wrong. Hopefully not indecently. Anyway, that's just me. The result is that the fans say Massimo, it's time to go. Cellino, who has had 6 managers in less than 2 years at Leeds, we've had weeks of discussion on that. Check out our podcast. Said he would like to stay for 10 years, but has claimed he is losing his balls. And yes, that is a quote. It's not just me being a wrong one. And losing sleep trying to run the nightmare club. Wow. Okay. It's bad firing a coach, he said in an interview with the Times on Friday. It's very bad. The worst thing. You think I get my peace from that? My dream is to have a coach for 10 years. It could happen at Leeds. Okay, we've discussed that topic before at length as well. But Monday, 2nd of November 2015, Leeds Fans United chief Dylan Thwaites believes it is the only group to which Massimo Cellino is willing to sell his majority stake. The Italian, that he was willing to agree a takeover with supporters and forego any profit. Thwaites said Massimo was absolutely clear that he was only selling to fans. It's Leeds United. There are always rumours, but I think it would be crazy for anyone to seek to steal this deal from the Leeds fans. He continued, the level of hostility generated will be a death blow but to any sensible bid plan. Cellino, who is still going ahead with his appeal against the Football League ban, it's one of them said he was sad and embarrassed about how his ownership of the Championship club had turned out. Architect own demise, fill in your own adjectives. But anyway, that's my view. Leeds are currently 19th in the Championship after only 2 wins from their opening 14 games, with Steve Evans recently becoming the 5th head coach appointed since Cellino took over the club in April 2014. 6 if you count Redfern twice. But it is one of them. Thwaites is confident that LFU, which was Leeds Fans United, which was launched in April with the aim of buying a minority stake in the club, will be on the deal in the near future, that he would only sell to Leeds fans, he said. It's one of them. This clearly gives us an exclusive position. Of course, as professionals, we need the signing, and we expect to have that shortly. Now, 2nd of November 2015, Lily Alumi actually mentioned this earlier. Leeds United chairman Massimo Cellino will no longer, and also this was put up on Facebook as well by Mr. Russ Vernon in the Pitch Talk group. So big shout outs to those two being Leeds supporters. Leeds United chairman Massimo Cellino will no longer attend the team's games because of calls for him to leave. Cellino, who is appealing against a second Football League ban, as said, has told the club website, it pains me to take this decision, but what I was subjected to at the Blackburn game left me feeling I had no other option but to take a step away. As we mentioned earlier, Leeds lost 2-0 to Blackburn, leaving them without a win at Elland Road since March. The following day, Cellino, who took over the Championship club in April 2014, announced that he was willing to sell his majority stake to supporters. The Italian added, after the time, effort, and emotion I've given to the club to try and enable us to move forward, it hurt me a lot. To hear the fans singing what they did on Thursday night. The fans made it clear they believe I am no longer the best person for this job, and for the first time I am starting to think that they may be correct. We've gone through, we have gone through in terms of the controversies to do with Leeds United and Cellino's time in charge of the club. So we're not going to go over that again because we've gone over that ad verbatim. But Jezzy Fizzle, G-Man, would you like to jump on this first? On Remi Garde taking over as Aston Villa manager. Oyston basically scrapping the talks with the Blackpool Supporters Trust. And also Cellino agreeing in principle to sell Leeds United to Leeds Fans United. G-Man, Jezzy, your views on this before I come in with mine, and we'll also throw out to the Skypers as well.
I'm going to start with Remi Garde coming in, and I'll say that obviously they need to get a manager. But for me, right, the Aston Villa job is like a bit of a poison chalice right now. In many ways, it's very similar to the Leeds job, in that there's been so many managers and none of them have really been given that much time.
On to Villa, and as Jezzy Fizzle mentioning about the poison chalice, is an interesting one as well. I mean Aston Villa, to an extent, there are kind of delusions of grandeur where they're thinking that they're a bigger club than they are, in my opinion. But it's a mad one. it is kind of a mad one, but yeah, I don't know. But the thing is, with Remi Garde taking over at Villa is quite an interesting one, because at the end of the day, I mean, Villa is it's a salvage job, really and truly, because you look at, say, because it's one of them ones. You look at, say, you look at today's result, and that is actually now a full-time result. Tottenham 3, Aston Villa 1 is a full-time result. Then Dembele on 3 minutes, Dele Alli on 45 minutes, Kane on 90th minute, and Jordan Ayew giving Villa faint hope on 79 minutes. But that has ended Tottenham 3, Aston Villa 1. But Jezzy Fizzle, you were talking about Remi Garde first, and then if you're going to go into Blackpool and Leeds.
Yeah, no, I was talking about Remi Garde, and I wanted to say that, to me, the job is a poison chalice at Aston Villa. And in many ways, you can see the parallels between Villa and Leeds, in that there's been quite a few managers through the doors, quite a few coaching staffs as well, and none of them has really been given an extended chance. So I ask you, is there really any point in terms of desiring that job? Because the support and the stability aren't there. They're obviously lacking in terms of quality players now. So why would you want to go there? You know, you're not going to be given a chance to build anything. So I personally don't see the appeal. I think there are better opportunities for other managers out there, and that they should look into those, as opposed to trying to, I don't know, I suppose fool themselves into believing that it could work at Aston Villa. And going on to Leeds again, you know, I have to say that I just think, again, there needs to be stability there, and there's no stability there. It's more or less a revolving door, and everything needs to change, and it needs to start from the top and go down. So whether or not that means, you know, Leeds fans united coming in and actually steadying the ship or not, something significant has to happen. I will mention what Brad has said. He said that Sherwood's got a chance. He was just blooming awful. I don't believe that personally. If he was so awful, explain the cup final.
And he was only there 8 months. 8 months isn't that much of a chance.
Right. If he's so awful, explain the cup final. Explain what he did at Tottenham as well, because it's the same manager. And the other thing that I'll also ask is, what else do you expect him to do, right? When, as I say, you take 2 of his best players and rip essentially the spine out of the team. So your captain goes and your best forward goes. And you say, you know, that he was awful this season. Let's look at the players he had available. Right? A lot of new players had come in. A lot. I think there's about, what, 5 or 6, if not more, new players had come in. They're trying to replace Delph and Benteke by the numbers. Right? And it's going to take time to gel. That doesn't happen overnight. Right? And let's be honest, there were signs of hope for that team. Things looked like they were beginning to click. And I personally feel it was premature to let him go. Because the other thing to bear in mind, yes, they got to the cup final last year, but maybe they were overachieving. Right? Maybe this is a period of solidarity where, okay, they're going to be in and around the relegation zone, but they probably won't get relegated. I mean, they're one of the few Premier League clubs, should I say top division clubs, never to be relegated from the top division. Right? So, for me, it's all just a bit knee-jerk, and anybody that's going in there, especially at this time, this is the thing. If you wanted to get Remi Garde in, I would have said you should have got him in the summer. Yeah. Right? Because now, a lot like Jurgen Klopp, he's got to work with the same parts that the previous manager couldn't get to work. And unless he's seen something totally different to everybody else, right? And by everybody else, I mean fans, pundits, commentators, and observers, right? Then, for me, I'm not really sure how it's going to work. He's going to get similar results because he's got similar players. As a matter of fact, he's got the same players. Right? And he's going to have to wait at least until January to maybe bring in, what, 1 or 2 players. And even then, the question is, how much financial support does he get? Right? And what happens if that doesn't go so well? You might as well say, well, look, he's really got up until the end of the season, if not before then, to kind of make some kind of impact. So, I don't know. I just don't know.
I mean, it is.
I also think this modern culture of, right, there has to be instant results. It's got to be now. Right? At every club, at any club. To me, personally, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid. No, I
absolutely ridiculous. All this talk about Jose Mourinho potentially being sacked, ridiculous. Look at what he's done.
Exactly. But then Chelsea have priors in doing that, though. Look at Di Matteo. He got 4 months after the Champions League win. Ancelotti, one season where he was second by 4 points and no trophies. Boom, you're out on your ear. And funnily enough, the parasitic media are actually linking him to being an interim manager at Chelsea. And it's like, what? Are you stupid? Are you really lacking that much credible information? It's stupid. I mean, this whole short-termist gimmick and this managerial merry-go-round is a disgrace. It's an effing disgrace. It really is.
And as I say, it's going to be the same for Remi Garde. It's going to be the same for whoever ends up getting involved with Leeds. And I just say to you, is that really the setup you need to go to? You don't. You really don't. Because right about now, what you need is a chairman that's going to support you, players that are going to play for you, and fans that's going to get behind your team.
Yeah.
Right? And I look at the Leeds situation, I look at the Villa situation, and I say, the fans aren't really behind the team because they've lost patience. Right? The chairman definitely isn't going to support you because he's got priors. Right? And that goes as long as their arm. And in terms of, you know, the players, there's obviously something wrong there with them mentally. I don't know if you need to get a sports coach, a motivational speaker, performance coach, or a combination of all of the above. And if you are looking for those, by the way, you can give me a call. All right? My card's in the mail. But yeah, the point is, the players themselves need to change how they're approaching the games as well, right? The manager comes under a lot of stick, takes a lot of flack. But I ask you this question: when the players go over the white line, right, that thin white line, who wins or loses the game? Is it the manager who stood on the sidelines, or is it the players who are playing the game?
That's a good point. That is a good point. Although with the Leeds and the Blackpool situations, you've got everything off the pitch conspiring against everything on it, which I'm going to come into in a minute. I mean, G-Man, you want to jump in on Garde taking over at Villa and the Leeds and Blackpool situations?
Yeah, with Remi Garde coming in at Villa, I've got to say I do agree with a lot of what Jesse said. It's almost a panic buy by Randy Lerner. And you know, he's basically fed into, as you would say, the parasitic media's reporting of how Aston Villa have been doing this season. You know, Tim Sherwood hasn't hidden from the fact that it's going to be a tough season. He's got a very young team. Yeah, they know that, and you know, they, like Jesse said, they got rid of Benteke. You know, who was quite well. Their focus. He was the focal around that team. And when you lose someone that's going to get you goals, and not just that, you know, he's a big, powerful man. And it's almost like when Benteke played, he gave Aston Villa that extra oomph because they knew they could, you know, there's potential of them getting goals, but also, you know, bossing the match in the upper third. You know, it's incredible to see that Sherwood has got released in the way that he has. But football is a results game. And, you know, when you're dicing with relegation, you know, for some owners, you know, they just don't have the bottle to stick it out and see what the potential is. You know, their first draw is to go to their checkbook, you know, get rid of a manager, pay them the compensation, and try and get a new manager in. But in terms of getting Remi Garde in, it's like it's more of a gamble than getting Sherwood in my personal opinion. It's like he hasn't had any experience managing in England in anyway. You know, he's managed Lyon in France, okay, and he's had a decent spell over there, finishing the top half of the table with them, and that's good. And I think he's also won a cup or something like that. But he's now getting thrown into, you know, the fishy waters of the Premiership where it can be so savage. You know, he ain't gonna get time. He ain't gonna get the time that's needed for an up and coming, you know, sort of youngish manager to really instill that impact unless he has the Mourinho effect. If just touching on Mourinho, as you said, Jesse, like where Mourinho, with what he's done for Chelsea, that's probably what's, you know, held him on an extra couple of weeks because you could arguably say if this was earlier on into Roman Abramovich's tenure, he would have got rid of Mourinho 2-3 weeks ago. And it's just sad to see. It's just sad to see that, you know, up and coming managers like Tim Sherwood get treated like this, you know, where essentially it's not like they're getting millions and millions thrown at them and they're wasting millions and millions. He has invested this season, but you know what I mean? It's not like he's, you know, it's not like you can't understand why he's not getting performances. We can all see why he's not getting performances. It's just sad to see that he hasn't been given that chance. As for the Cellino situation, well, it's laughable because the guy is a bit of a how do you put it?
You're gonna say a maverick?
Bipolar? Is bipolar the right word for Cellino?
No, maybe not.
Yeah, and him offering to sell the club like to the fans, you know, and then later on talk about he's not even going to turn up to the games because of the fans. You know, really, I can't actually, you know, see him really committing to that. And if we're looking at the line of, you know, negotiations, like with what's happened with Western, you know, and the fans at Blackpool, you know, if negotiations go down that route where, you know, 1 minute he's agreeing to sell the club, but then next minute, you know, he's starting to question everything, you know, in terms of the, not just the you know, the legality.
Them ones where it is one of them ones where Cellino.
With Cellino, you can actually see, you know, it could get very messy. So, you know, I don't know much about the Oyston family and, you know, the true wranglings of that scenario. It's going to be a good read later on tonight. But with Cellino, I can see, you know, it potentially could go down that same route where it could get played out in the papers. He could say one thing one week and then backtrack the next week.
Yeah. And you know what, yeah. You know, I mean, Remi Garde going to Aston Villa is a major risk. But at the end of the day, it looks like Villa have no real option. But the Blackpool thing with Oyston pays it a bit coming out and saying, well, it's one of them was, I don't trust that you're going to run the club right. The whole reason the Blackpool Supporters Trust want to buy the club is because the club is now not being run right. So it's like, so there's a comic irony there already. And the Oyston Out and some of the Oyston Out campaigners we actually met during the FA Cup final. And it's one of them ones where, for me, Leeds United and their supporters might want to keep an eye on the Blackpool situation, because you look at how Oyston basically backtracked on that. Who's to say, without being going too much down the CWO route, the Cynics World Order route, who's to say Cellino's not going to do that as well? Because you got to bear in mind, he's to paraphrase DDP, aka Diamond Dallas Page, he's a two-time convicted fraudster. So, like, I personally wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, really and truly. And I've said this on a number of occasions before. I wouldn't trust him. When has Cellino ever come up? When has he ever said something and stuck to it? Oh yeah, I want this manager to be in charge for a while, and he's gotten rid of him 6 games later. His record at Cagliari, like 23 managers over 21 years or something. So it's one of them ones. These two situations are very concerning, and I can see Cellino next week saying, "No, I didn't say I was going to sell. I didn't say I was going to sell them. I just said, oh, I might." I reckon I could see that happening. I could legitimately see that happening. I mean, saying that he's going to walk away if he receives a satisfactory offer, that's one of the major quotes to hang on to, and also an agreement in principle, because it's not an agreement has been reached; it's an agreement in principle. So you could still renege on that deal, And also, he could use the satisfactory offer line to renege on that deal. So Leeds Fans United might want to be careful, because we saw what happened before when GFH Capital were going to sell, and Adam Waldenberg and his people were looking to try and get something going. Because I remember we had him on a few PT shows, on a few PT live shows, but nothing ever came of it. And then Chelino ended up buying that eventually. So it's one of them ones. I mean, Leeds have had that revolving door of ownership, but on the general basis, it's really all been negative. And the club has not only stagnated, they've gone backwards. And the PR this week from Leeds United has not been good. I mean, you had a disabled fan who had his issue with a Sky Sports cameraman and one of the Leeds stewards. So it's one of them ones. The PR coming out of Leeds United over the last week has not been good. And as said, I just do not trust Chelino. I really don't. I mean, him saying my dream was to do my best, but I've achieved nothing and I'm sad and embarrassed. Well, you're sad and embarrassed because of your own actions then. And the reason you ain't done nothing with the club is because of your actions. It's like, where's Jim Cornette? Where's Jim Cornette at? It's a effing circus. It's a circus. It really is a circus. I love the way he goes. It's bad firing a coach. So why did you fire so many at Cagliari? It's bad. It's very bad. The worst thing, you think I get my piece from that? My dream is to have a coach for 10 years. It could happen at Leeds. No, just like Ramoran up at Chelsea, you ain't gonna have no coach for 10 years because that itchy trigger finger is always itching. So it's one of them ones. You ain't gonna have no. It's gonna end up. Leeds United pretty much already is kind of a managerial graveyard, along with Sunderland and Chelsea in the Premier League, in terms of revolving door of management. It's not good. But I mean, all you can really hope for is that that Leeds Fans United end up taking over that club, and the Blackpool Supporters Trust end up taking over that club. But the interesting thing that always has to be focused on is, have these entities got the money to support the club and also get the club out of the debts and purchase the assets as well? Because you ain't gonna get that for free. And it's like when WCW was bought by Vince McMahon. I think it was bought for only like a couple million quid. But the fact of the matter is, whenever you buy an insolvent business, and I was talking about this on Saturday with some of the Ibis Eagles guys, whenever you buy an insolvent business, you've got to take on all the debts. It's like buying mortgage properties to give a very rudimentary example, it's like buying mortgage properties in Monopoly. You got to pay those debts to be able to use those assets again. So it's a case of whatever debts are riding on Blackpool, whatever debts are riding on Leeds United, if you want certain assets, you're going to have to buy them as well. So it's one thing to keep a club ticking over, but it's another thing to get them landed in black ink. And that takes a while. I was watching timeline of WCW, I think it was 1995, with Eric Bischoff, and he was like, yeah, the WCW, like before he took the reins, was running losing a couple million a year. Like what's it? A $20 million company losing $2 million a year, and then a couple of years later he transformed it into a $50 million a year company making $20 million a year. But he had to cut back a hell of a lot, renegotiating contracts, cutting back wherever they could. So it's one of them was, these two situations are far from over. They are far, far, far from over. And as I said, I personally wouldn't trust anything Chelino says unless you've got it in writing. When I was watching on Football League tonight, it's a case of, I thought to myself instantly, you know what? Get stuff down in writing, because Chelino's proven in the past he can't be trusted. So if you've got stuff in writing, you can legally go back and say, well, this is it. This is what he said. And it can't be disputed. The Oystons and that, the Blackpool fans haven't been happy for a while in terms of how the Oystons are running that club. So it might be time for the Oyston family to move on. But if the Blackpool Supporters Trust can't support it, then that has to be looked into. So maybe in these situations, the Football League might have to step in as somewhat of an independent entity and look at both of these clubs, because you don't want them going the way of Northampton Town, who at the moment can't afford to pay their players and are in real trouble because they owe debts to their local council. Yeah, the similar thing with Coventry and the Rico Arena, where Coventry were basically homeless, and I think they were sharing with Northampton Town, ironically. So it's one of them ones. So you've got these situations. You can't have these situations continuing. But hey, for the powers that be. Russ Vernon, you've been waiting for a while, and I know as a Leeds supporter, you want to jump in on this. What are your thoughts on this situation with Blackpool and the situation with Leeds United and Massimo Cellino agreeing to sell the shares? What is your opinion on it?
Right, first and foremost, when I first saw this, when it was announced on Friday, I was like, get in, he's actually leaving the club and he's actually listened to the fans, because before this happened on Thursday with the fans chanting for him to go, and before this was announced on Friday evening by LFU, Leeds Fans United, by Dylan Thwaites, and Dylan has now gone on holiday, went on holiday earlier. Yes, yesterday, I was told earlier this evening.
But what's your opinion on the whole? What's your opinion on the whole deal? On this whole thing? Do you think Cellino's actually going to be held? Do you think he's actually going to go through with it and he's going to stick to his word this time?
I think he will, because he's actually said to Adam Pope, I actually spoke to Adam Pope last Wednesday on the phone, and he's actually said to him that if the fans said on Thursday that they didn't want him at the club, and the fans had come up to him at the ground and went, "We don't want you here anymore," he'd actually leave the club. And yeah, he's actually listened to the fans before, because we had restrictions on his away tickets. We asked him to take it off, which he has done. And so I think he's going to be listening to the fans. He's going to go out. Philly from the Yorkshire Evening Post put out earlier today that he was meeting with another potential investment consortium to take over the club. And Leeds Fans United, who I spoke to earlier today when I did an interview with, which I've posted out on the Pitch Talk group on Facebook, that he's actually said that he actually spoke to Cellino earlier today on the phone, and he's actually said to him again today that he will 100% sell the club, and he says he will not go back on his word, and he will still be fighting this ban until the deal actually goes through. And he says he's going to meet with the LFU on Tuesday evening, so tomorrow evening, around about 5 o'clock, before the game in Leeds City Centre, where he's going to stay and not attend the match tomorrow, not attend any more matches. He's going to stay in Leeds City Centre. But Russ,
what I want to know is he's gone back on his word before. What makes you, I said, without going too cynical on it, what makes you think he can be trusted this time? Because last time he said, I'm going to step back if I lose this appeal. I think it was against one of the fraud cases. He lost the appeal and got banned, and he still stayed. So there's no fail-safe in place if he does stay. That what makes you think he's actually going to walk away this time? That's the point that we really need to get to, because he's gone back on his word before. So yeah, is there any fail safe in? And also if Leeds Fans United are the best entity to potentially buy the club, why would Cellino be talking to others as well? And also, if it's a group of people that Cellino knows, in theory, it could go the same way again, where they could be as untrustworthy as he's been and even could have him involved.
Yeah, no way saying, but I think he will go, because he's actually said if the fans turned against him, which majority of us have, he will leave the club, and the chance on Thursday seemed to have driven him away for the rest of the season. So hopefully he'll tell you that he's not the best for the club, which actually said today that he now personally believes, like the fans, he's not the best for the club, and he wants the club to do what's best for them, which, if that means give it to the fans, which I think he'll do that. And I think with this, Dylan Thwaites, he sold a business that he had from 2007, back in 2007, for 55 million. And it's got the likes of Adam Pearson, who worked under Cellino earlier this season, Mike Farnan, who used to be at Manchester United, who's going to be helping fund the takeover for Leeds Fans United, and he's actually going to be getting former Leeds defender Lucas Shredderby on the onto the board as well. The LFU actually want fans, which I've actually seen on the website and spoke to. The person I interviewed earlier today, Dan Jewett, but other people as well, saying the LFU want fans to put in over £100 or more into LFU to help raise the money which Cellino wants, and Cellino says he don't want to make a profit, so I reckon he's going to sell it for what he got it for, which is £20 to £30 million. I did put a poll out over there, Liam, asking if fans' ownership is the best way possible for Leeds. 67% have said yes, and which I agree with. And Stan Collymore says he's going to buy some into Leeds shares and give them straight to the Leeds United Supporters Trust and LFU, because he says every little helps, and he wants to see Leeds get back in the Premier League. And he says it's called for Leeds fans to do it, get the club in our hands, and he's wishes us all the best for the remainder of the season as well. He earlier today on Twitter, so I think it'll be the best way possible, and I think he will go through with it. And Leeds, like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich, and Portsmouth, will soon become a fan-owned club. To an early question from Mike, I will not be buying any shares in Leeds United, but I will be supporting LFU and the fans who do get on board to bring stability to Leeds, which we really, really need.
No, thank you for your views, Russ. And for me, it's a case of, as I said, with Cellino, you can only really trust stuff when you see it happen. In my personal opinion, because it is one of them ones he's reneged on his word before, so it's gonna be one this is gonna take a while to come home to roost. But you know what? It is time to take a little quick pause for the cause, but we are starting to come into the home straight of the show. So it is one of them ones where we are going to be back in just a couple of minutes, as we take a little pause for the cause. We'll see you in a sec.
The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rabbatts.
G-Man.
Samir Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is
live
at youtube.com/pitchtalk. For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Your Monday night football fix, Pitch Talk, is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich, simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproduction.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video encoding for the web, including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in touch at www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
the one-stop shop for all your coaching needs, Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitelinemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at stormfm.net.
Two girls with their Bonnie Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Rabbatts.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-Year Plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Pitch Talk special feature.
Yeah, your Monday Night Football Fix is back. And you know, our special feature this week is discrimination in football. Discrimination in football is where we are going to go and where we're going to go. Heather Rabbatts faces FA investigation into public backing for Eva Carniero. This is from Friday, 23rd of October 2015. The Football Association's independent board member, Heather Rabbatts, is facing a formal investigation from the governing body's council over a public backing for the former Chelsea doctor, Eva Carniero. Heather Rabbatts has been heavily critical of the FA's handling of the case of Carniero, describing it as seriously disappointing, and is now facing a complaint for an alleged breach of the FA's code of conduct. It is understood two members of the 121 strong FA Council, the 82-year-old Life Vice President Ron Barston and the 70-year-old law lecturer Richard Turr, the chairman of the Oxford University FA, have called for an investigation into Rabbatts. Under FA rules, only two members of the council are required for a formal investigation to be launched. The ultimate sanction, if any wrongdoing is found, would see Rabbatts removed from the FA board, though any such move would have to be confirmed by her fellow directors. Now, on the 27th of October 2015, Football Association chiefs are to be questioned for discrimination cases, including that of ex-Chelsea Dr Eva Carniero. Members of the FA's Inclusion Advisory Board, IAB, say they have deep concerns about the way Carniero's case was dealt with by the FA. Carniero left Chelsea last month after criticism from manager Jose Mourinho, September that month. And the IAB will also seek to clarify the position of FA board member and IAB chair Heather Rabbatts. They are seeking answers from FA Chief Executive Martin Glenn and Head of Governance Darren Bailey in a meeting in November. Rabbatts is set to be questioned by the FA after she criticised the disciplinary process surrounding Carniero, who was dropped from first team duties after she and head physio John Fern rushed onto the pitch to treat Eden Hazard during a 2-2 of Swansea on the opening day of the season. The FA cleared Mourinho, now subject of 2 separate ongoing investigations of making discriminatory comments towards Carniero, who left Chelsea on September 22nd. But the club and governing body have drawn censure for their handling of the process, with Carniero claiming she was at no stage asked to testify to the FA investigation. The FA said Carniero was invited to contribute to the process, but Rabbatts' subsequent response led to 2 FA councillors complaining about her behaviour, which we just mentioned. Independent members of the IAB, including former players Graham Lasso and Paul Elliott, have written a joint letter to FA Chairman Greg Dyke and all FA councillors backing Rabbatts and expressing deep concerns about a number of recent anti-discrimination cases. The letter states, the letter states that while the IAB will wait to speak with Glenn and Bailey, they will give their unwavering support for Rabbatts and seek reassurances. That she still has the full support of the FA board. Now, as said, Ron Barston and Richard Turr were the ones believed to have actually began the investigation into Rabbatts. And yeah, the letter added that Rabbatts' mandate is to champion equality and diversity in football, and they questioned whether she has any charge to answer. Now, there's that point. The next point. Former Chelsea team Dr Eva Carniero's lawyers have served notice on the club that she intends to seek a claim for constructive dismissal. This is from October 29th, 2015. It is understood that legal papers were served on the club last week, the week of the 29th of October, and these will trigger an employment tribunal process. Unless an out-of-court settlement can be agreed before a hearing takes place. Carniero's lawyer also served papers. Carniero's lawyer served the papers this week after failing to agree a settlement with Chelsea so far. The 3-month period in which a claim must be notified ends on November 8th. An employment tribunal hearing would take place in public and could potentially be embarrassing for the club, and for that reason such cases are usually settled beforehand. Chelsea have previously said they cannot comment on internal staffing matters. Now, we've already said the circumstances around Dr Carniero's sacking, but 2nd of November 2015, today, Jose Mourinho is to be the subject of individual legal action from former Chelsea team Dr Eva Carniero. It means the Chelsea boss will have to appear at an employment tribunal unless there is an out-of-court settlement. Her lawyers are already suing the club for constructive dismissal, as we just mentioned. The legal papers are expected to be served on Mourinho this coming week as part of separate but connected claims against him and against the club. The doctor's lawyer said neither she nor they could comment as the legal proceedings are active, while Chelsea have also not commented on the case. The individual legal claim against Mourinho of victimization and discrimination means Carniero's lawyers are alleging he was instrumental in Carniero's apparent demotion. The incident in question occurred on August 8th, the opening day of the Premier League season, as we've already mentioned. Now, Mourinho was widely criticised for his comments, but cleared of using discriminatory language by the Football Association. Carniero revealed she had not been spoken to personally during the investigation or asked to provide any statement. However, the FA said she was given an opportunity. The handling of the case, as said, has also been criticised by Women in Football Network Group and FA Independent Director Heather Rabbatts. G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, would you like to take the floor first before I raise my blood pressure a bit on this?
Well, I'll just say, you know what? I think it's great to see that, you know, Mr. Rabbatts got some backing and some serious backing at that, you know, and it would be nice to have that whole scenario clarified. Because as far as I see it, you know, in terms of this situation, the line is clearly drawn in the sand here, right? And to put a fine point on it, you're either with her or against her. And if you're against her, then look, what we're really talking about again is an even bigger case of discrimination. Really. Right? So we'll have to see how that pans out. But you know what, as well, I'd also like to say congratulations to Eva Carniero's legal team. And the reason why I say that, right, isn't because I'm trying to start a party or anything like that, but it's good to see that she's actually taking the action that needs to be taken, right? Because what normally would happen in this kind of scenario is on the hush-hush, this just kind of fades away, right? But that's not the case here. And it's good because what that means is, and I use it to apply it to future cases of anything similar, is that if something like this was to happen again, that wouldn't be the case either.
Yeah.
They would also stand up and actually take action. So, you know, in that regard, I say it's good and congratulations to them, because a stand does need to be taken on this issue. It really is that simple. G-Man, over to you.
Yeah, no, the sentiments I like, especially with the Heather Rabbit situation, because to be honest, if someone is calling out the people that she's you know, working with and, you know, around, and basically, you know, just trying to say, look, things ain't being done right here. There's something mega wrong with this decision to make. You don't expect her to actually like be reprimanded for it. You know, I know there's channels that you can go down, but in all effects, yeah, anyone looking at the case of Eva Carniero could see, you know, the decision that the FA made, it just didn't look right. And like you said, Jezzy, it's good to see Carniero's taking her case further forward. I guess this is mainly through you know, probably Heather Rabbatts in that era as well, you know, trying to say, look, you need to actually really stick up for yourself here, because, you know, it is the men's game. There is still that whole how would you put it, discriminatory factor about how women are seen in the game, in the men's game especially. And, you know, I'm with the stance that Heather Rabbatts has taken. You know, I can actually see, you know, look, just saying you need to stand up for yourself. And this is just me speculating here, but I'm assuming she would be like this. You need to stand up for yourself. You need to take it the full 9 yards. You can't let Chelsea do this to you. It's not right. If it was a male manager, it wouldn't even have gone down that line. Mourinho wouldn't have got away with that sort of situation. He probably would have got his lights knocked out in the changing room, to be honest, with the way that he actually treated and spoke to her. You know, so, but again, that's just my speculative point on the situation. But all in all, you know, I just hope both you know are reprieved for you know, their involvement in this whole case, which, you know, again, the FA just needs to fix up, in my eyes. The FA needs to fix up, needs to take a long look at itself in the mirror. We're not 100 years back. You know, simple as that. We're not 100 years back. We're in the future. You know, you can't be overly promoting the women's game and then, you know, just showing that you have a disregard for women in the men's game.
No, that's a great point. I mean, that shows a counterintuitive message, because that definitely shows a counterintuitive message. And you know what, the potential damage this could have done. Imagine like, say you're a female physio, or you're a female doctor, or you're just looking, or you're a woman looking to get into the game in general, and you're seeing, and this is one of the biggest sources of consternation for me. And imagine you're seeing this kind of thing being played out in public, and the sheer disrespect that was shown by Mourinho when he come out and started calling John Fern and Eva Carniero naive. And we discussed that at the time it happened as well. It was a case of coming out and disrespecting your medical staff like that. And then the decision from the FA saying, no, there was nothing discriminatory. It's like, what? and the way that apparently they came to the decision where it's like, no, we're not, like they hadn't asked Dr. Carniero to actually be a part of the process. For me, as soon as I read that she hadn't been a part of the process, I was like, how? It's like, wait, hold on a minute. How can you have a process where you've basically only got one side of the story? Dr. Carniero is the victim, and you haven't even asked what happened. You've just gone on what Mourinho said and gone with that. That's a disgrace in itself. And these two good old boys, trying to get an investigation started on Heather Rabbatts, because Heather Rabbatts expressed serious concerns about the whole process. Them guys are idiots in themselves. See, this is the thing that majorly frustrates me. These two good old boys. Actually, no, let me name drop them. Ron Barston. There's a line there somewhere, but I can't do this because it's family shot. And Richard Turr as well. It's one of them ones. These two good old boys, but he complaining about Heather Rabbatts. But Heather Rabbatts is supposed to be championing equality and diversity and anti-discrimination in football. What the hell do you expect her to come out and say? You expect her to stay quiet like Gordon Taylor does? It's like Gordon Taylor with the PFA. I noticed he ain't come out and said nothing about this. But he's one of them ones who I've criticized before for picking his spots. And I ain't talking about acne with that either. Fact of the matter is, yeah, these cases being re-examined by the IAB, Inclusion Advisory Board, good. Re-examine these cases, because I could bring up other cases that need to be re-examined where they are riddled with incongruities. The Suarez Evra case, for instance, where, of course, as I've said on numerous occasions, I read 70 plus pages of that 115-page report, and there were more holes than an Afghan rug in it in terms of how they got to their decision. There were so many holes, it's untrue. But leaving that aside, the FA has history of priors of charging one person one way and another person another way in exactly the same cases. So it's one of them ones. The FA have handled this badly. They were a day late and $1 short anyway in terms of jumping in and getting involved in the first place. And you know what? Dr. Carniero suing and serving notice on Chelsea for constructive dismissal. Good on you. Stick up for yourself. Don't allow the club to mug you off, because at the end of the day, if the club thinks they can do it to a physio, then obviously they're going to try and do it again and again and again, and it's going to keep on happening. If someone mugs you off once, mugs you off twice, they're going to keep thinking that they can mug you off all the time. And Mourinho getting individual legal action, hell, in my view, obviously Dr. Carniero feels strongly enough to take it that far. So it's got to be taken seriously when someone feels strongly enough to not just sue the club, but sue the individual as well. And of course, this isn't one of those blanket ones like what has been said about Owen Hart's widow, in terms of she sued literally everybody who had anything to do with what happened, the tragedy with Owen, the WWE, the guys, this and that. She just blanket sued everyone. Dr. Carniero suing, suing the club for constructive dismissal. Fair enough, because she was hung out to dry. She and John Fern were hung out to dry in that situation when all they were doing was their job. Her and John Fern got hung out to dry badly. And then it's one of them ones, hey, papers to be served on Mourinho for basically discriminatory language being used. Fine. It's one of them ones. Fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's one of them ones. If it happened, then prove it happened. And it's one of them ones, because at the end of the day, it's not I think for Dr. Carniero, it's not just suing for lost earnings, but there's also damaged reputation as well, because this kind of thing, the way Mourinho came out and was lambasting Fern and Carniero, it's one of them ones. There's grounds to sue there on defamation of character, potentially, in my view anyway, without being a lawyer. But it is one of them ones. I mean, you could easily sue for defamation of character. It's one of them ones. I'm top of my profession for a reason, not just because of who I know. It's because I am damn good at what I do. And the fact of the matter is, it's just one of them ones. Loss of earnings, damaged reputation is extremely important, because reputation, when a reputation precedes someone, if it's negative, then certain employers won't touch you. So it's one of them ones. I mean, you look at Joey Barton. Aside from the fact that he's a very average footballer, no top club will touch him because his reputation precedes him. You see where I'm going with this? So it's a case of there are legitimately those grounds to sue on, in my personal opinion. And the fact is, hey, Dr. Carniero, more power to you. And the fact that a champion of equality, diversity, and anti-discrimination, Heather Rabbatts, and the IAB, Independent Advisory Board to the FA, are supporting and having deep concerns about the way this has been handled, that speaks volumes as to the way it was handled and the way the FA on a general basis is run, with this whole good old boy network kind of mentality. It's one of them ones. If an independent entity feels strongly enough to want to reopen investigations to cases, you got to think something's rotten in Denmark here. So it's one of them ones. It's just one of them ones. I mean, potentially, and I was speaking to one of my housemates about this earlier. Potentially, this could, in theory, potentially burn bridges for Dr. Carniero, in terms of her being looked upon by the good old boy networks running the game as a whistleblower. But at the end of the day, the bridges may have been burned anyway by Mourinho calling her naive and hanging her out to dry in the first place, and then Chelsea ended up sacking her. So it's one of them was, you might as well pursue legal action if you believe that your reputation has been tarnished. If someone tried to tarnish my reputation, you think I ain't gonna fight tooth and nail to restore it? You think I ain't gonna fight tooth and nail for that? You must be crazy. So it's one of them ones. More power to Carniero. More power to her, because the ramifications of this are not just limited to Chelsea Football Club. It's the negative. It's not the negative vibes and the negative aura and the negative representation that it sends out in general to women who want to get into football. That's where this is big, actually bigger than football, especially the part with Heather Rabbatts, because of what kind of aura it gives out. So, it's one of them ones. Just to put a finer point on that. I mean, Jesse Fizzle, G-Man, I don't know if you want to jump in any more before we move on, but...
No, I think you've added the underline and the underscore and signed it too. I really couldn't have put it better myself.
I said, I think publicly it's been a disgrace the way this whole thing's been handled. And Heather Rabbatts has no charge to answer, in my view. At the end of the day, hey, look at the opinions we've had on the situation. So it's one of them. But you know what? It is one of them ones where we are in the home straight of the show. So this week, due to time, our final segment of the show will be Grassroots segments. Yeah. Yes, it is the Grassroots segment of Pitch Talk Live, and due to time, this will be the last segment of the show. We are right in the home straight. It is one of them ones where the Grassroots segment. We always start by giving a big shout out to the 14SAL at 14SAL on Twitter and www.southernamateurleague.com 14sal.co.uk at 14sal. That's the word 14sal. Big shout out to the AFA as well at AmateurFA on Twitter and www.amateur-fa.com. Also, a big shout out to the AFA Youth Council as well. Facebook.com/AFA Youth Council and at AFA Youth Council on Twitter as well. Big shout out to their chairman, Mr. Darrell David, who is our latest Pitch Talk Meets guest. Pitch Talk Meets Darrell David will be out soon. Keep your eyes peeled to the social networks for that full interview. Now, in terms of grassroots segment, where we start, always, Ibis Eagles AFC. www.ibiseaglesafc.co.uk is the official website. Facebook.com/Ibis Eagles AFC is the official Ibis Eagles AFC group. Twitter.com/Ibis Eagles AFC at Ibis Eagles AFC on Twitter. Training is every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. At the Battersea Park all-weather AstroTurf pitches. Also, matches are Saturdays within the M25. So it is one of them with get yourself down to training and hey, get yourself into one of the 6 sides that we have. So it is one of them ones. No boots, no molds, just AstroTurfs are allowed. So all good. Results from Saturday, 31st of October 2015. Old Finchlians won, Ibis Eagles 8. It's one of them ones. Ibis Eagles reserves also won. They won 4-2 at home against the HSBC reserves. The Ibis Eagles Freeze lost 6-0 at home to the Actonians Association Fours. The Ibis Eagles Fours drew 3-3 with Mertens Fours at home. Aline Old Boys Fives won. The Ibis Eagles 5-2 in the AFA Cup. And the HSBC Sevens went down 4-1 against the Ibis Eagles Sixes in the LFFA Cup. The upcoming fixtures: Ibis Eagles host Old Salesians in the AFA Cup. I think it's the AFA Senior Cup. The Royal Bank of Scotland host the Ibis Eagles Twos reserves in the LFFA Cup, Financial Cup. The Ibis Eagles Freeze go up against the HSBC Sixes in the LFFA Cup. The UCL Academicals versus the Ibis Eagles Fours in the AFA Cup. Us, the Fives, travel to HSBC to face their Fives in the LFFA Cup, and Polytechnic Nines host the Ibis Eagles Sixes. Nice little local derby right there. But a little roundup from week 8, a much more positive week for the Ibis Eagles. A stunning result for the first 11 was the highlight of a much more positive week for the Ibis Eagles, with Tunde showing what a good impression of Jorginho Wijnaldum he can do. Strong resilience too from the 5th and 6th 11 after last week. The reserves came back from losing at half-time to win well, and the 4th 11 coming back from 3-0 down in the last 10 minutes to draw. Spot the additional detail of the week 2 as our very own Titch refereed the 4th 11. We actually couldn't find the ref. I'm the referee secretary for the side. Our club ref was actually busy this week, and we actually didn't have, and the league actually had a bit of a shortage of referees as well. So it was a bit of an interesting one there. But the scorers in the ones match versus Old Finchlians, Tunde Tole Olagjunu, Tunde Olagjunu scored 4, Chris Marks scored twice, Cy Nielsen scored, and Joe Barker got 1 as well. In the 4-2 twos win, Callum Gerard got 2, Luca Nicole scored, and so did Simon Dent as well. No scorers from the Ibis Eagles in the 6-0 defeat against the Actonians Association Fours. With the 3-3 draw between the Ibis Fours and the Merton Fours, there was an own goal from a Richard Steele throw. Aaron Tertullian scored, and Frank, surname undetermined, scored as well. And Titch was Richard Handley, aka Titch, was actually refereeing that match. He's actually carrying an injury at the moment as well. The Fives, we won 2-1 against the Leeds Old Boys. Quality. It was a brilliant, really good game, actually. The scorers were Keenan Morgan and David Handley, a.k.a. David Goal Machine Handley. He actually could have had a couple more, but it was one of them but at least he got the 1. And hell, Keenan's goal, the winner. I mean, Dave's goal, Dave Hanley's goal. Oh my God, it was really, really nicely worked. And the finish at the end of it, it was brilliant. But as one of them was the first goal that we actually conceded was, and there was a bit of a siege right at the end of the game as well, where I had to do a Jamie Carragher, just throw my body in front of it. But it is one of them ones where everyone to a man put in a really, really good performance. And we battled from the adversity of going 1-0 down quite early on as well, for a goal that really should have been ruled out for offside. But hey, with no linos, the referee couldn't really see it. The referee did well generally, to be honest. Alina Old Boys actually should have had a penalty. And they could have had a penalty. It ended up as a free kick. But yeah, it was one of them was fortunate not to give away a penalty. But yeah, it was one of them ones. Ball over the top. We were playing kind of a high line, and we got caught. And their striker rounded our goalkeeper Zarko and struck it right into the back of the net. So it was like, damn. It was like we were claiming offside. Even their striker, when he was celebrating, was like, well, I thought I was offside. I heard him actually say to his strike partner, yeah, I thought I was offside. But yeah, man, really, really good game, showing that bounce back ability after last week's defeat. So one of them was happy with that one. And the Sixers, in their 4-1 win against the HSBC Sevens, Gordon Minor, there was an own goal as well. Solomon Mane and Vic Jondo scored as well. G-Man, your view on the Sixers game, because you played in that, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much like what you were saying about the Twos game. Everyone put a performance in. But it basically started off in a flash because we were up within, I think it was the first 5-10 minutes, yeah, and we weren't quite expecting. You know when you have the hopes that you're gonna have a good game, but it's because we were playing at HSBC. They've got nice pitches. They were out an hour before us training and all of that sort of thing. They just look organized, well organized for a home team. And as an away team, everyone's traveling from far and wide and you're straggling in. You know, the last man comes literally, I think it was like 10 minutes before kickoff. But we started off with a flash. We got the first goal. We won a penalty. Christian and Gordon linked up basically. Gordon, who I mentioned before in one of the other roundups, he's our tank in the middle. He's best described. He's like the Steven Gerrard / Santi Cazorla type player. You know, he's got quick feet, but also he's back and forth like an engine. He played a nice through ball to Christian, who's our basically like the Navas, who plays like Navas. Yeah, he gets himself into great spaces, but he has a way of releasing the ball where he doesn't actually think about where he's releasing it to sometimes. But he got into the box, got hacked down, won the penalty. Gordon scored from the penalty spot. I think he scored last week as well, so that makes it 2-2 for him. But then HSBC put a little pressure. 5 minutes later, they got an equaliser. You know, a bit of a hard one for the goalkeeper. He should have saved it, but he tried to push it out, but he pushed it into the goal, sort of thing. And then the first half really just tapered out of sort of, we had a lot of control, but control just wasn't turning into any real chances against goal. They had some possession down in our half and they couldn't penetrate the goalkeeper. They had some good chances too, actually, because we did have some hairy moments, but we lost that out. Second half, again, we controlled it for the first, I'd say 10 minutes or so. And, we had one hairy moment and then all of a sudden in a counter-attack from where they had basically, I think the goalkeeper had come out as a sweeper keeper. He made a tackle, challenging the guy, got the ball away. Then we counter-attacked. And we've got this really good, nippy player up front called Solomon. He's got good feet on him. He just twisted and turned and shook and shaked. basically whipped the ball across the area and it got slid into the goal. I can't even remember who scored. I think Solomon might have scored it himself. And then, we got 2 more goals later on. Can't actually remember them, but we got 2 more goals later on. One of the goals is online actually as well.
See, it's a nice
But
goal.
it was a brilliant game. You know what's so hard? It's so hard to just, when you're playing, it's just so hard to remember all the action that happens.
No, same here, it is one of them ones you get so immersed in it. Yeah, I'm definitely immersing myself in playing centre back alongside Paul Dennis as well. Like, it's interesting, man. It's like, just switching positions. It's like played left back for the first time in a while already last week. It's like I actually prefer centre back now. It's quite odd, but yeah.
But yeah, the Facebook family and anyone out there, you can see. I think we got pictures, haven't we, and video on the FB wall.
Yeah.
You actually see some goals and some of the footage.
Yeah, all in the Ibis Eagles AFC group, facebook.com/Ibis Eagles AFC. It's one of them. Was there some pictures, couple pictures from me of us like warming up before the League and Old Boys game, and the goal, one of the goals from the Sixers game as well. So it's one. You know what? Big time shout out to Stevenage ladies who their first team won 4-2 against Colchester at the Coat Recreation Ground to make it 7 wins out of 7. Goals from Nicole Hogan and a brace, and a goal apiece from Josie North and Holly Jardine. The reserves won 4-3 away at Hoddesdon. A brace from Chloe Rouse and a goal apiece from Sarah Payne and Leah Littlechild from the penalty spot were enough to give the reserves a fantastic 3 points in this 7-goal thriller. Both the first and reserves are currently top of their respective leagues. Facebook.com/Stevenage Ladies FC and at Stevenage Ladies on Twitter. Twitter.com/Stevenage Ladies. Also, for girls between the ages of 13 to 16 in the Hertfordshire area, there will be trials for a brand new development centre to help feed young talent into the ladies squad in future seasons at Stevenage FC Academy on Tuesday, 3rd of November between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. So to register for the trial or for more information, please contact Jack Rees. That's Jack Rees, JACKREES, on Jack R at StevenageFC.com. That's JACKR at StevenageFC.com. Alternatively, you can call the Stevenage FC Foundation on 01438 222 222. 01438 222 222. It is one of them. Get yourselves down there. Also, massive shout out to Arsenal ladies as well, who are victorious by 3-0 in the Continental Cup as well. Sticking with women's football. It's one of them ones on 1st of November 2015. Arsenal ladies won their 4th Continental Cup in 5 years as Jordan Nobbs' 2 goals helped see off Notts County at Rotherham's New York Stadium. Big shout out to girls on the ball who were there, and also Russ Vernon, who was there as well, and he actually got to chat to Alex Greenwood at full time too. England and Notts County defender Laura Bassett was actually sent off before the break. Chioma Ubagagu scored as well as Jordan Nobbs, and the victory extends Arsenal's 11-year run without a trophyless season. And Notts County, who lost the FA Cup final in August, which we were at, Pitch Talk at the Women's FA Cup final is on YouTube, which we were at, and Notts County remain without a major trophy. 2 finals is unlucky for Notts County, but it is one of them ones. Arsenal ladies were appearing in the Continental Cup final for the 5th year in a row. So big shout outs to them. You know what? It is about that time where we start to vacate the place with a haste. As I said, due to time, we couldn't get into stuff of the week this week, but it's time for
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rabbatts. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jesse Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and of course holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
We're that live, people.
The pitch is where we sleep. Because I was sleeping.
Oh, let's cue that up again.
Yeah, the pitch is where we eat.
And the pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
Was tempted to do that again, but no. So that was www.pitch-talk.com is the official website where you can find out about everything Pitch Talk. www.pitch-talk.com. Also, youtube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all the videos, including Pitch Talk at the Cup Finals, the Pitch Talk Meet Series, and the Pitch Talk on the Road Series, and much, much more, including an archive of the YouTube feeds of the live shows as well. Also, we podcast on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomax, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio as well. Give us a review, give us a share, give us a like. Whatever the case may be, drop us a little comment on each of those links as well. It just helps make the show bigger and better. Also, drop us a comment, drop us a view, drop us a share on the YouTube videos as well. The more the stuff gets spread, the bigger we can get and the better that we can deliver content for the people. Because it is we the people for the people. Also, 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views, just like Jamie Bailey did earlier on. It's one of them, and also leave your name at the end of the text so we can shout you out. Also, pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jesse Fizzle, and many others, including Dave Meir, aka at Mearcy, whose newest blog, Masterclass by Klatz, came out earlier today. Also, twitter.com/Pitch Talk or at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to as well. Pitch Talk Live on Google Plus. And let's get that hashtag trending on Twitter. #PT Live. It's the one. It's the one. As I said, Tottenham final score earlier was 3-1 to Tottenham. Dembele on 3 minutes, Dele Alli on 45, Kane on 90, Jordan Ayew on 79 minutes with a consolation for Aston Villa, who have taken on Remi Garde as their new manager, as we spoke about earlier. Big shout outs to Big T, aka Thomas Stewart. Big shout outs to Ryan Sonley, Mike Harniman, Russ Vernon, Brad Hicks as well, and also, of course, Ian Kerr of Finn White Line Magazine, who joined us for an A-League roundup earlier. Is one of them was at Tweet White Line on Twitter, Facebook.com/Finn White Line Magazine and FinnWhiteLineMagazine.com. If you heard the roundup, buy the shirts, buy the Macs, go support their podcast as well. Also, big shout outs to at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, Facebook.com/Girls on the Ball and GirlsOnTheBall.com. Also, Motivate Sports and Fitness at MotivateSF on Twitter, Facebook.com/MotivateSF and MotivateSportsandFitness.com as well. It is one of them ones. I have been Straight Shooting LJA.
And I have been the G-Man.
He's also been asleep. And I've been Jesse Fizzle.
And we'd like to say, thank you very much for joining us. Spread that podcast, spread the word, spread the videos. And good night.